ever. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Good Brews, Bad Views, the podcast that asks if great beer makes bad movies any better. I am your host, Max Astorowicz, and as always, joined by my genetic memory co-hosts, one James Thorpe.
Hello.
And one Ryan Everart.
Finger guns.
So, for today we have, quote unquote, the best video game movie ever made. End quote, end quote.
End quote.
Yeah.
Low bar.
Is either, which I think is a very good statement about the quality of video game movies and maybe not about this movie.
Right.
We're watching Assassin's Creed, the 2016 adaptation of the popular video game series, starring one Michael Fassbender. So, before we get into this, did you guys play this game at all? Like, as they were coming out? Because there was like one every year now.
Right. So, James and I have talked at great length about this game series. I haven't played much of them. When the first one came out, the first Assassin's Creed, it was more of a full-priced tech demo than an actual game. And a lot of promise from, what you could do was there, but the first game was really clunky and not very fun. But they refined it pretty quickly. I think it was the next game.
Yeah.
Figured it out and played really, really well. But I haven't played through most of them.
Yeah,
I just kind of dipped into it now and again.
I played the Ezio series, which is 2 and then 3 and 4, even though they're not named 3 and 4.
Yeah.
2 is one of my favorite games I've ever played.
Really?
It's astonishingly good. The story is fantastic. It plays incredibly well. It did a lot of... It did exactly what Ryan said. It took the promise that there was in the first game and eliminated most of the tediousness and instead brought about a lot of the fun that you knew there could be.
Okay. So, if this is your first time on the podcast, welcome. We'll be doing more than just talking about video games. Hopefully we got a lot of that out of the way. But we're going to watch Assassin's Creed. We're going to drink some tasty beer and make some commentary and jokes about the movie. The podcast is designed to be watched along with the movie. But you don't have to if you can't. And if this is your return, welcome back. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything you guys want to add before we get going here?
No, I'm ready to rock. We'll see if we survive these peep-flavored Oreos. I don't know, man.
Oh,
we'll see.
No, they're not good.
No,
they're
not.
Not good at all.
No.
They're good.
Okay. We're actually watching this on Blu-ray that we rented from our local library.
That's
because libraries have good selection of movies, question mark?
Shockingly good, depending on the library. I was actually kind of floored. I hadn't been to the library out here in the movie section in a while. Maybe not even since I moved here, but anyway.
Yeah. So we are 23 seconds in. The 20th Century Fox fanfare has just finished with the snare drum roll and cymbal crash. So if you're watching along...
If you're watching along at home, press play now.
What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Regency. Excuse me. The internet's best coughing audio, brought to you by Good Brews, Bad Views. Now, this is
Oh, God,
kind
they
of
got to have
unique,
some
isn't it?
EULA.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Time for the EULA. I don't know. Even for an opening crawl, I thought this was bad for even a video game movie.
It's just not the same without the John Williams score in the background.
I don't think this opening crawl is necessary.
It's not.
I think that the movie does a really good job of telling this story.
Well, Marianne Cotillard.
Marianne Exposition.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, I quote some of this, actually, I think later on.
Yeah, it's just, you don't need it.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary, absolutely.
It reeks of audience feedback of not realizing what was going on or being like, what's the story?
Yeah, I just...
What happened?
I don't get it.
So, back to the Ubisoft logo. I'm trying to think, have we really seen a lot of the game company's logos featured prominently at the beginning of movies based on games before?
Did it show
Maybe
up
Mario?
for the first Resident Evil movie?
I honestly don't remember. I was trying to think about
That's
it.
the only one I could think
and I didn't
of.
do any research, but that's an interesting question. Maybe something I'll circle back on.
And I posit that is actually a better movie. It is not about the video game in any way, sense, shape, or form.
Right, yeah.
But it is a better movie than this.
Yeah,
movie.
it's one of my favorite video game movies, and I agree. I think it's better than this movie.
Yep.
One thing I will give this movie credit for is all the scenes we see in the past are in Spanish.
Yes.
They don't pull the punch by just having accented English,
Right,
which
right.
is something Red Sparrow, I think, is getting a lot of flack for.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
because it's not none of it's in Russian. It's all just like Eastern European English.
Okay. Yeah, moose and squirrel language.
Yeah, moose and squirrel.
So, I'm not going to get into the intricacies of the game or anything like that compared to this, but it is interesting that the apple kind of pokes out at the last second. Like that's kind of a thing that they bring up once they break the. So the first video game, for those people who don't know, doesn't actually tell you that the past isn't real.
Right.
Like you play it, and then it's like, oh, surprise!
You're in a simulation.
You're in a simulation,
Right?
Like that happens to you part of the way
What
through
a
the game.
twist!
So
It's been a long time since I played that. So.
yeah. So it's one of those deals where it's a.
Well, time to adopt a base 9 number system there, bud.
So dropping the whole Apple thing right at the very beginning is an interesting pull because all your video game audience knows about it already.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to drop it at the beginning of the movie because anyone who doesn't know about the video games, you're not really gonna you should have the audience all on the same page, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why they had that opening crawl.
Yeah, and they talk about it right here.
Yeah.
It's so, and then they read off the Assassin's Creed, and then
not Capcom. Ubisoft was very, very specific about these are the things we would like as far as elements from the games and objects from the games, but yeah, this movie just has very, very abrupt soundtrack shifts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Assassin's Creed symbol.
yeah.
Oh, I lost it. I had something insightful, believe it or not.
Well, another thing I'll give this game is give this movie is instead of trying to ape another one of the games, they go for a original story and setting more or kind of less as far as having the game set in Spain, which having the movie set in Spain. God damn it.
Yeah, while I think that in theory that's a good idea, I don't think in execution they really pulled off a compelling story. The Spanish story is not particularly interesting. It's visually really cool.
Yeah, visually it's kind of interesting, but
Yeah,
let's face it, they couldn't do the Middle East Jerusalem setting with
you can
with,
do and like I said, it's one of my favorite games. One
Italy?
of the things that's in Italy, it's set in Florence, and one of the things that's really fun about all the games is they throw in tons of historical figures. You meet Leonardo da Vinci in that, and he's your buddy, and it's just a lot of fun in that aspect. It really gets you dropped into and invested, and these people, and it gives you points of reference, I guess, is the best way to put it.
This movie does that at the very, very end.
Yeah, but I mean that's not a compelling story.
Yeah. So
just a minor technical thing. I find that this movie, not a lot, but there are a few instances where it just hangs out way too long on a shot.
Yes.
Just
yes.
And they're not necessarily meaningful shots.
No.
Big sweeping.
Well, there's a couple. We may have talked over it, but there's a close up on one of the assassin's daggers earlier or later that was just we get it. It's there.
I think it's meant to show that you'll see this again later in the movie.
Is it the one that we just saw where they cut his finger off?
It may have been that one. I think there's another one coming up here where it just hangs too long.
I think this is the one because the finger one makes sense to me because it's hey, everyone who hasn't played the games, you need to know that in order to use the hand daggers, you have to cut off your finger.
I thought that was just in the first game.
It is, but I mean that's the canon is here.
Yeah.
So
she looks fine. She's fine.
It's part of that whole commitment thing. They keep pushing that through. They are committed to this. They are committed to this.
They go for it in this movie.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that the assassins as a whole, they keep saying they really show that these people are committed.
Man speaking Spanish backwards
reads the subtitle.
Okay, that's.
I was trying to figure out what he was saying.
So, this shot.
Yeah,
this is way too long. We get it. He's got a knife.
Yep.
We're still on it. Okay, there it goes.
And
this is what happens when you mail a failed indie rock singer.
Right.
It shows there that that the knife technology has benefited, right? He still has all of his fingers there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess that'd be a nod to the whole like, oh, it got better thing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
So what are we drinking today, guys, as we go through these long pandering shots of people walking through hallways?
I have no idea how to pronounce any of this. Panil Barriquée, maybe? Anyone want to guess?
Let me
Yeah.
pass it over.
Without winding up with a bunch of beer on my lap here.
Again.
Yeah.
Panil
right, again.
Barriquée?
Barriquée? I don't know. We'll have a picture of it.
Yeah. It is a...
We're not cultured enough to know how to say this.
No. Well, it is a oak aged sour red ale, native to the Netherlands and Belgium. So that's probably why we can't say things right. What are you guys thinking of this tomorrow? Oh no, this is from Italy. Excuse me.
See, Italia.
Now, James, as our resident sours man.
it smells way more sour than it actually tastes.
Mm-hmm.
I do like it. It's getting to the point where like it's actually starting to border on almost like a wine taste to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm down with this beer.
Well, it's got the tannins from the oak aging.
30 years later.
Mm.
That's a big.
It reminds me a little bit of El Roja that we had a couple episodes ago.
Oh
from
yeah,
Dry Pumpkin?
La Roja, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I like this way better.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm crazy and I make art.
I expected this to really be harsh on the end, and it's not actually.
Mm-hmm.
Harsh in what way?
Like sour, like a sour,
Like
sharpness.
a funky- sour
like a
bite.
funky.
Not a funky, just like a sharpness, like a sour sharpness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll agree. From the aroma, I was expecting that too, but it's not. It's actually
Yeah.
Very smooth.
yeah.
Yep.
Dialed down.
We'll get more into this beer later as it warms up.
Yeah, I don't get the whole art thing.
I think there's supposed to be people from his memory because it looks like there's.
Is
yeah,
that
there's
it?
someone on fire right there.
Yeah, I mean,
getting burned.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they images from later on?
It's from his genetic memories.
I feel like it.
Yeah, be interested to see if somebody's lined that up.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Fassbender is just a great actor, though. This movie has some pretty big names in it. I mean, with him,
It does.
Marion Cotillard and Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Bruce Wayne's be really mad when he figures out what Alfred's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That two-timing bastard.
It's a crazy looking demon horse on the wall over there.
Demon horse.
Yeah,
Look at
Batman
my-
told Alfred to help him out with the League of Shadows, and then he went off and did this.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna do this.
Mr. Wayne, I thought you said to start my own League of Shadows.
Weirdly, even on the cover art for this movie, well, I guess it's not art, but the cover
Box
photo,
art.
the box art, Michael Fassbender looks bored on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I after watching this movie, I keep trying to think of what it is about this. Like, nothing really gets me. It's visually really neat. There's one. I shouldn't say nothing. There's one thing in this that I thought was is really really cool.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
It's kind of a little bit past midway through the movie. So a lot of the very exciting and visually engaging stuff takes place in the Animus.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, it's a lot of this, Max, you were kind of talking about this just blue filter, boring stuff. I don't know.
He's guilty of capital murder, but not lowercase murder.
Yeah, lowercase murder, that's just a misdemeanor.
Yep.
And
I was surprised that this was set like present day, and not like slightly into the future. But I suppose with like genetic memory machines, it's okay if you can have.
yeah, I mean, it's always supposed to be.
It could have worked.
It's like they're supposed to be like the Templars they're dropping $3 billion a year into weird, crazy science research. So
Yeah.
I did like this shot, actually.
this just shows right here how good of an actor he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like holding it together, but clearly scared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even in movies that Michael Fassbender has been in that aren't necessarily good movies,
Aliens.
he
Exhibit A.
still,
Yeah.
he still does a good job with the roles he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
like Fassbender a whole lot.
Yeah. I first saw him in Inglourious Bastards. He's one of the lieutenants, I think.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his character's name. But
he's the guy who's he goes undercover.
yeah. Yeah, he's the one who gives him away with the.
Yeah, it gives away with the
Three glasa or whatever.
Yep.
Glaza, whatever he says.
He
does it wrong.
He doesn't hold his thumb up.
Yeah, he's supposed to do it like this.
He gives the wrong fingers.
Yep. Your number one in German.
Your index, middle, and then.
No, is your thumb. 1, 2, 3.
Either way.
And okay, so now we've got him potentially dying and seeing weird bullshit. Him being Michael
This
Fassbender.
is just
flashback.
unnecessary.
Yeah, this is a lot of just silly Windows screensaver nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It looked a little bit like an X-Men film opening.
A little bit, yeah.
If they would have done some Animus callbacks right there, maybe that would make. I'd go for that. Like it would tie in. I just don't think it's necessary. I think actually it's more powerful if he fades to black and then opens his eyes and just sees.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so here we see Marianne Cotillard. Is it just me, or does she look really, really pale in this?
She does look pale in most of the movie.
Maybe it's just like the setting. She's in like this sterile white room, but
weirdly, I actually think she looks surprisingly a lot like what is it, Maisie Williams, Arya Stark? A lot of times in these shots, like an older Arya Stark.
yeah, I think similar shaped chin, kind of.
Yeah, and shorter hair.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Hey. Kal-El? No, wrong movie.
Give me your brain secrets.
Yeah, this is that weird wheelchair.
Yeah.
Looks like a toilet.
I mean, hey, multitasking.
Hey, it's me after leg day.
Yeah. Or me after my annual blackout drunk day.
No, just more weird shots. Or shots that go on too long.
Yeah. Like, I didn't need a second or a third cut back to the security people.
Now, is it just me or does the security guard also look a lot like the main villain in the Animus?
I think that's intentional.
Yeah, I figured as much. Okay, so I'm going to maybe end up feeling stupid here, but what the hell does DR mean? Anyone know? Dead to
I don't
rights?
know.
I don't know.
I don't know if they ever actually addressed that, honestly.
Yeah, he went from...
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says on my jumpsuit.
I mean, this is Abstergo, so that's not it.
Yeah. Yeah, he went from regular prison to brutalist prison.
Yeah. Welcome to
Nature prison.
Yeah. This looks like someone trying to recreate nature in Blade Runner.
Yeah, I was gonna be like,
This is my nature room. It's beautiful.
which, hey, congrats to Richard Deakins for finally winning that Oscar.
Yeah.
Fine, Marie. So is this the one of two filters you were talking about, Max?
Yep, we are now in the brown filter.
Yeah, the brown/bronze/golden filter.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those weird movie moments where it's like, obviously this wouldn't ever happen in real life.
Yeah.
I'm not playing, like, I don't care about the science and everything like that. Like,
Yeah.
I can jump into that, but like, you pulled someone out who is a serial, like a killer apparently.
Yeah.
Who is going through very confusing times, and you're going to let him go hang out on a balcony.
Yep.
Like, this is one of those times where it's like sedate.
Right.
Okay. Whee!
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. I also think it's kind of weird that she has like fashionable hospital gowns.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that looks like. It looks like it's made out of paper.
It does, yeah.
Wearing a middle school diorama. Jumped into it. No, I'm done. Just goes.
Yeah.
The end. I actually really want to see the story behind Baptiste, the black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like a voodoo poisoner, I think
Yeah.
he says later.
One is too much.
Again, another weird shot to the security thing. What
No,
are you doing,
blue
Alfred?
filter.
Yeah.
Brown filter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's supposed to be like what intentionality they're going for there. Like everything in the Abstergo building is under blue filter.
Mhm.
Everything. And
Yep.
just outside of it's all brown filter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So clearly they're going for something.
They're going for that DC look.
Yeah, but I just don't.
Yep.
I really like this beer.
Yeah.
I'm liking it as it warms up too.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, we only have the one blade. We can't get the 3 blades. We don't want to get sued by Marvel for impersonating Wolverine.
Right.
So, just from an in-story perspective here, later on, they go into great lengths and pains to be like, you need to be willing to go into the Animus and enter the regressions, or bad things happen to you.
Is this.
But the entire opening scene is them being like, "Where are these?" and just jamming him into the machine.
Hook him into GLaDOS.
Yeah. So this is the Animus.
Yeah.
So the Animus.
I know what it's called. It looks like GLaDOS.
I'm doing a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is the Animus, which is what I actually find a great change from the games. I think this is one of the coolest things I've seen in a movie in a while, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is visually really interesting. The concept is high. And it's well done. It really looks great the whole time.
Yeah. Reading up on this, they intentionally changed it from the table or the CAT scan machine.
It's like a CAT scan machine,
yeah,
basically.
because they didn't want it to look like The Matrix. And that films, quote unquote, had changed since that original game came out.
Yeah.
Plus, it allows you to do some interesting little visual stuff of him acting along with his memories.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the neatest things to it, because the game does do some stuff with like the flashbacks and seeing like the shadows later on.
Yeah,
like your character goes through that, but doing it through this makes so much more sense from a narrative standpoint that he's actually like seeing those things through his eyes and doing them. And I thought that was a great way to capture it. It's narratively interesting, and it's narratively solid too.
It's logically broken at a point though. And we'll get into that in a little bit. I agree with everything. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
It looks great. But my issue with the movie version of the Animus is that if you have the technology to like see his memories and stuff and have that kind of access to his brain, you don't need to have this machine to jiggle him around and make his body feel like he's there. That's one thing. And then also
rule of cool.
Right, yeah, rule of cool. But also because he is doing like a 1-for-1 motion, memory to present day.
Yeah.
So what happens when he runs out of length? Like you just smack into a wall? Like he runs and runs and runs and runs and jumps and runs and jumps
him off the ground, so like running in place.
Yeah,
I mean, but then he's not touching the ground. I don't know. Logically, that doesn't hold for me, but I still think it's cool.
The only thing I would think, to go back to your first point, your second point is I'm sure they can do some kind of weird. I just wave that away with some kind of weird like gyroscope thing to make him feel like he's moving when he's actually not. But the first part, to me, that makes sense why they would do it this way is what I said. They spend a whole lot of time being like, if you're not willing to it, your brain freaks out and like doesn't understand what's going on. So like to get them to sync better, actually having them moving around and feeling like they're experiencing those memories or being part of it would make sense to me.
Fair enough.
And these shots are great. Like you said, Ryan, everything in Spain is really beautiful and really interesting.
We're in an Age of Empires 2 game.
Right. Yeah. I am a little... So when the camera swoops kind of at the infantry level through a lot of these shots, a lot of the people are obviously just the same character model copied a million times and slightly scaled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Soaring eagle in the sky.
Did this movie get a 3D version released? Because I feel like that was...
It's very dusty here.
Yeah.
Yep.
We sell dust. The little bits of Spanish I know make watching these scenes actually a little fun.
Yeah. They do a good job of
Security
making
guard
Fassbender
man.
look old. Fassbender look old in the past.
This is... I think you and I actually talked about this, Max. After watching Altered Carbon recently, which splits the main character between two different actors, actually.
Yeah.
Which isn't... That's not. You find that out like within the first 5 minutes. Folks.
Yeah,
so
but I'm thinking back as far as like, there's a lot of actors who play multiple roles in that show. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, so, I thought that would have been a really good chance, like you spoke about actually, with whether it's the Middle East or a different time frame, to actually split this character between two different actors. And you could have given the series where this series can go. That would have been a really neat thing to establish in the very beginning of the movie. Like Michael Fassbender is going to be your anchor through the series, if there was a series, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be in every movie. But when he goes into the past, it's a totally different actor. And that way you get you can do a bunch of really different things with the movies.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen them do that.
The problem with doing that is narrative cohesion to make sure the audience can follow. Like, oh wait, they're the same guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I'll admit I wasn't paying attention for the first episode of Altered Carbon as close as I should have been, so I had to rewatch it to fully get everything. Like, I got the basic concepts, but the first episode wasn't as engaging as the rest of the show was.
So, I mean, that's where you just take it and you do something right, where you're like, oh, there's his brain, and they're like, and they pull up the image of the guy or something like that, and it's like, this is who your ancestor was, right? I mean, that's easy enough to do.
Yeah. We're in brown filter time.
She's about to get real. That's a cool shot.
Yep. That is straight out of the game.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Everything
but it's visually really awesome, really great.
For sure.
Which is this captures a lot of the really cool motions that these characters have. Like that back that shot right there where he's walking and like slowly kind of meandering and grabs someone's shoulder and moves out
straight out of
the trailers and stuff. So they captured a lot of the really, really, really neat stuff that this series has that is visually stunning.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That I love that shot. The first time they called over to that shot, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm sold on what this thing is now."
Mm-hmm.
Get the tires.
This movie loves lens flare, like in an unhealthy J.J. Abrams way.
Yep.
He has a reputation for that, but it really isn't as pervasive into his later movies as most people would.
I think it's because his wife told him to stop.
I think that actually is true.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Urging horses.
Mm-hmm.
Parentheses.
And I like that this fight hints at it too. That the Templar organization is very powerful. The assassin organization is very powerful and is powerful but dedicated, yet small.
Yeah.
Like the Templars overwhelm them with numbers.
Like the Jedi.
Yeah, they're slowly getting eroded away, basically.
Yeah.
And this fight alone shows that.
Yeah. The problem I have with this scene, and it's just coming up to now, is you cannot tell who anyone is because they're all wearing black.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing this is between these people, I get irritated with that. The other guys who are just kind of like cannon fodder.
Oh yeah,
they can die.
They can die, and there's enough variance in the color palette of the scene that you can make out who is who. Yeah. But for this entire scene, I'm like, who's on which one?
Is cool
who's on? Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. They try to do as much practical effects for this movie as they could. So these scenes look well and will age well because it's people doing flips and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, the quick kickoff of the mountain as they rode by was really cool.
Yep.
I have no idea who any of those people are. I can't tell you which one's Fassbender. I think it's maybe him. Yeah. Now that we focus in on him, but from that original pan, it's I think you should be able to quickly identify who everyone is in the chase. So,
well, and I think that's a fault from them on the Templars front, right? Like the Templars that we just saw were all in the Spanish red plume helmets and everything. Like the Templars should be the ones that are easily identifiable in this.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the assassins kind of being a little more difficult to identify which one is which.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would make sense from an organizational standpoint, but not all the bad guys are also dressed in black.
Yeah.
Is that more of where you're getting at, Max? That you can't tell who's good and who's bad? That's
exactly. Yeah.
It's like, okay, is that a Templar or is that
exactly
Michael Fassbender?
Exactly?
Where if it was a bunch of red dudes and three black cloaked folks,
clothes,
you'd be like, okay, those are the assassins.
Yeah, be like, yep,
whoever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's a Michigan pothole.
Yeah.
I think I ragged on Michigan for evolution too.
Yeah,
it's true though. Fix your damn roads.
Hey, it's the end of Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, did I miss something? Why is this a better idea than just turning the horses to the left?
For her, I get it because she's hanging down underneath everything, but he had far more than enough time to walk over to the front of the horse.
I don't know. It seems like not the right choice.
Yeah.
Dramatic moments, I guess.
I sleep with my eyes open.
My brain hurts.
I do appreciate though that whoever the costume designer was for this movie didn't just sex her up as like the sexy scientist for the whole movie.
Yes, absolutely.
She just is dressed in just like normal office stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so this hints at things to come later on with issues with being in the Animus.
Yep.
Big sweeping shots.
So, am I just not remembering that right? But I thought the last time they showed us that building, it was on a big hill, and nothing else is around.
It was
no,
kind of.
it
It's
was.
still in the middle of a city, but it's on a upper hill. It is on a hill, though.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's on a hill in that shot.
Well, I mean, in that shot, it's dark. You're coming from a different angle because we're seeing into it. We're seeing into that glass enclosure as opposed to the little slits. So, I can understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's one of those like Great Pyramids of Giza shots where it's like if you ever notice all the pyramids are taken, all the shots you see that show the desert behind it are taken from one angle.
Yeah, because
that's because the city literally and a highway literally butt up to the other side.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
And here we have the fake UN.
So what I'm trying to get across is be prepared.
He's like, look, we got to get into this. I got to get back to the Batcave.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am 700 sandwiches behind schedule.
All of my architecture is the same. Bruce designed this building.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm going to be honest. Actually, now that you say that, it looks strikingly similar to some of the quarters from Justice League.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Like the inside of the plane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I like this beer.
It's quite good.
There's a little bit left. You guys want to split it? There's not much, but I'm going to take some.
Yes,
again,
I'll have some more.
I might be giving this movie too much credit, but I do like that
probably.
she walks up and helps him put his cufflinks on. It hints again more at their relationship there as to
That's just his daughter.
Yeah, no.
So I mean, like
it's her relation, but you can see that he's taking a lot of the credit for things that she's doing, and he can't even put his shirt on without her help, and that's what it's hinting at. That everything that he's accomplishing includes her.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
I'm not saying they're in a relationship.
The scene literally starts with her saying, "Oh, you stole my lines again."
Right. I mean, they're hammering it into your head,
and she's the she meets Fassbender before he does.
Yeah.
Being like, so you pretty much have to say what you establish that she is the one making all of the progress in the project and whatnot.
Yeah, and I like that there's that little subtle thing even further hints at or shows that. Like,
yeah.
Like even in their
it supports the idea.
Yeah, even in quiet moments between the two of them, she's still the one supporting him.
And I'm noticing it now, but that painting in the background is a scene near the end of the movie.
Yep. That's a cool symbol in the background.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's lit well.
Yeah.
3 billion what? Yen?
Yeah, yen.
Yeah.
One would Zimbabwean dollars?
Yeah. One would assume euros.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah,
3 billion doubloons.
3 billion rupees.
So I think that's an interesting concept too. That they're just like, we don't need to control people because they're all just stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
cough, cough. The election, cough.
Yeah, like we've won through just giving them mindless crap to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Same cough, cough, cough.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, so if you close your eyes and listen to Jeremy Irons here, he sounds a lot to me like Alan Rickman. Occasionally.
Okay.
Sometimes he kind of drifts into like, wow, he sounds like Alan Rickman as Snape.
Yeah.
R.I.P. He was a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Something I noticed about Alan Rickman after he died is he never was like a leading role kind of guy.
No, he was very much a supporting actor.
He was, yeah.
He was, but he
Not a character actor.
Right.
No,
But
I mean, but every movie he's in, he plays his character so well.
Yeah,
He's a powerful.
absolutely.
He's a powerful actor. But yeah, out of whether it was out of choice or by casting, he never really led a lot of films.
Never was the leading man.
This is my science lab full of strange bottles of things.
Right.
Even though I'm reading books.
Yeah. This bottle has a book in it, and this is a book about bottles.
Man,
Yeah.
even the camera lens has a blue filter on it.
Yeah, why? Why?
Yeah.
Why is it all blue?
What are these guys doing?
That one, those are blue too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
Any and all Arrested references are supported. Go fuck you up, son.
Mm.
Oh no.
Maybe it's because I just didn't care the first time I was watching this earlier. Like I do not remember these many ghost flashbacks.
There's a lot.
There are
Yeah.
quite a few.
Yeah.
The bleeding effect. It's
There you
just
go.
been
That's
given a
actually
name.
it's the same thing. So
The bleeding effect.
So looking over this bottle, this might be the first beer I've ever had from Italy, because that's not a country I associate with beer production.
this is the first like non-European green bottle beer from Italy I've had. Because I've had like
okay.
Peroni and a bunch of other stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I assume you're excluding Great Britain from that.
No, I'm saying you said this is the first beer you've ever had from Italy.
Yeah.
I'm playing off of that by saying this is the first like interesting beer I've had from
Okay. I'm just canning the bottle because I don't want to hold it anymore. I'm done reading the paragraph of descriptions about how it's all natural and authentic and blah 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 blah.
Well, it is delicious.
Yeah, quite good.
So this was come from somewhere that does a lot of small batches, considering they've labeled this bottle 366.
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Yeah. The Blue Prison.
Well, this is probably one of the pricier beers we've had on the show, and for a lot of beers like in that price range, I think this was like what, $20.
It
They
was a
do
$20
have like
Yeah.
the bottle or the batch and the bottle number on it just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
It's probably
beer
for,
trading purposes.
It was a what was it?
and probably for quality purposes on
That
their
too,
end
yeah.
too. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, it was $20.
So
What's the volume on this? Oh, anyway. So yeah, I mean, our most expensive beer, or well, non-spirit drink, is still going to be Dragons Are Real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By a long shot, but
worth it though.
oh
Yeah.
god, I have
Yeah,
I
from-
have 4 bottles of it in the drawer right behind me.
Yeah, from a like ounce to dollars to ounce ratio, that's the most expensive thing that we will drink probably ever.
Yeah.
This
Unless
is,
we like all splurge one day and get a bottle of Sam Adams Utopia.
Yeah.
so according to the bottle, this is a pint.
A pint?
That's what it says.
No.
8%,
Go home, Ryan. You're drunk.
8%. There's the bottle. Right along the edge of the label.
1.9.4 fluid ounces. That's 750 mils.
The timeline there is fun. There's a lot of little Easter eggs about things in there, so
Yeah.
that was cool.
This movie is nice in the sense that there are those Easter eggs for like super fans of the series, but they're not like blatantly there
No.
unless you are looking for every little detail.
Yeah, yeah.
I do like the medieval Renaissance, just art and pages from books and
Yeah.
bottle storage deposits. Man, it's got to be very hard to work in that room with that blinding white light coming off of that.
Well, they had to hang up all these fucking bullshit on these glass panes so that their employees wouldn't walk face first into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything is like all the doors are glass, solid glass walls.
Yeah. What are they up to? Like 5 or 6 people who have been significantly injured in the Apple
that have been admitted to the fucking hospital.
Yeah. Little backstory exposition here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Doesn't answer the question.
Is he a pimp?
I hear what you're saying, lady, but you're dressed like Steve Urkel.
Yeah. And then he's in his like his business hospital gown right now.
Business prisoner casual.
Yeah.
Bizcaz Priz.
Yeah.
Prisness casual.
Still trying to put my I think the movie just moves so slowly.
Yeah, unless it's in the Animus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
Because
kind of
right now it's like, who cares?
Like these shots are so long.
2 long pauses. Pause?
Well, not only
Pause.
Not only does the movie have a lot of sterile-looking shots, like this entire dialogue between these two has been everything about how it's shot is sterile. Both of their performances are sterile. Even the soundtrack is just this really low, wispy,
ambient kind of thing.
Ambient, like you don't even really notice it's there at all.
So compare this, which is also a lab scene where they're giving some exposition, to one of like the best ones ever done, which is the Jurassic Park lab exposition moment, where there's it's still very bright, right? But we spend less time in that Jurassic Park scene, learn way more about how Jurassic Park functions.
Mm-hmm.
You're speaking of the first movie.
The first one.
Well, yeah, because there's people there doing things. It feels like an actual lab.
Yeah.
This is just like, look at our old documents and bottles.
Yeah, where like Dr. Grant breaks the thing, and they go talk to the villain of the fourth movie,
Dr. Wong.
Dr. Wong just shows up, like, but from a pace perspective, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's no reason that this should be this slow. You can get all this out way faster, in a way more interesting way.
And the pace is just part of the overall execution of it. Like that scene feels alive. It's engaging. There's just a lot more. It's just better filmmaking.
Yeah. It feel like I was saying, it feels like an actual lab as opposed to this, which there's just random ancient stonework in this prison for some reason.
Yeah, like I don't know if that scene is supposed to be going for this like ominous thing of him being controlled and them finding out about all of his life. But instead, he just looks bored. Like, he doesn't react to it at all. He's like, oh, I guess you have my passport. And he's like, all right, that's cool. Like,
I really wanted that first guy with the basketball to be Jason Mantzoukas.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Oh, I would have been so happy. That's one of the funniest fucking people on TV.
Yep.
And this guy's awesome. I wanted to know more about him.
Yeah.
Baptiste.
Musa and Baptiste, yeah. What does he say eventually? I've been dead 200 years or something?
Yeah.
What did I see him in recently? I can't put my finger on it. I want to check the IMDb. I do like this.
Yeah.
Actually. We do recommend the chicken.
Yeah, he gives an air of, I've been here a long time and I'm trying to make the most of it.
Michael Kenneth Williams is the actor.
I guess that guy's job is to just stare cross-armed at TV screens all day.
Yeah.
Where do you get cups from? And why does he have 3?
Yeah.
He's also into magic, sleight of hand.
Remember there's that cup stacking game?
Yeah.
That's what they do in prison.
Yeah.
Assassin training.
Hi, I'm Joe Guy.
Yeah, just nondescript white guy, number 5.
Yeah.
Oh, he was Agent Hawkins in the recent Ghostbusters reboot.
I'm gonna keep saying vague things.
Yes. Everything must be mysterious, even though we told you the whole plot at the beginning of the movie.
Again, like, just bored.
He is one of the best performances in this movie, though. I mean, in a very tangential role, but
yeah, this movie has a lot of seeds that could have created something very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of this also speaks. We've talked about it with other movies, right? There's been more of a push to get movies under 100 minutes. It seems like lately.
Yes,
and this movie is not. And I think that you could very well cut 14 minutes from this movie.
Probably.
Yes.
And get it to that magical number. Because it's, an hour and 54 minutes? So 24 minutes.
Something like that.
Yeah. I think you could... So, yeah, an hour. You could cut 14 minutes from here with no problem. And I think it'd be a better movie for it.
Just cut all the longing looks.
Yeah.
And then you're just down half an hour.
Yep.
I don't need to see another flashback or another ghost when I just saw him like 5 minutes ago.
So
it's the bleed effect. Crouch and stand still; it'll go away. I've been playing too much Monster Hunter.
In that shot, I think it'd be interesting if they want to keep showing the bleed effect getting worse and worse and worse for him. Mm-hmm. If during shots, they just started slowly showing up more and more and more, and
Yeah,
just started
not
appearing-
just have a scene focused on like
Focused
it's
on it.
happening again.
right where like you're slowly getting the bleed effect over onto the audience themselves too.
Yeah. Or like while he was talking with the former assassins, if they had an overlay of some sort.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would be cool.
Yeah, like if he starts walking behind in the background, and slowly more and more and more of the people in the building look like assassins or Templars to him.
And maybe shot in a way that's a little less spoon-fed to the audience.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
He is kind of dressed like a Jedi, isn't he?
Yep.
It really like it doesn't look like it's fitted at all. Like this is cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, we need to this shot is super or the previous. This really makes the previous shot that we talked about extra superfluous. Like there's no reason to have that previous shot. This drags home everything we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. So this won't be the last time that Fassbender acts against himself or a stunt double of himself.
I haven't seen Covenant. Are you referencing?
Yes, I am
Covenant?
referencing Covenant.
I figured as much. Okay.
He plays 2 different android versions of himself. And those are probably some of the most interesting scenes in the movie.
I'm not doing anything still.
Ooh. Yeah.
That guy looks just like a bully. Is what he looks like. It looks like they pulled someone out of like junior high and gave him a prison outfit.
Fassbender must be crazy if you think he can sing like that.
I take issue, and this is a typical, sci-fi interface trope, but the interface and displays on most of these computers
The modules
are useless.
Yeah.
They're useless. They give you no information.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, it's like we already talked about. Rule of cool. It has to look
Yeah.
cool. So, if he's crazy, he should have sang Crazy in Love by Beyonce.
Yeah, sure.
Or
Gnarls Barkley.
Like a weird turn for the character, too.
Yeah.
For Fassbender's?
Yeah. Like, he's been, up until this point, he's been stoic and in control. I mean, even facing down death, he was just kind of like,
He's been fairly collected.
Yeah. He finally lost it when he was actually on the table, and maybe that's what...
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was... When he started doing that, I thought that was really odd.
Yeah.
And then he, pelvic thrusts into the past.
Yeah. The shot you were talking about, Ryan.
Yeah.
Which is that's a beautiful shot, actually.
Yeah.
It's really, it's disturbing, but it's really cool.
100% CG, but...
Yeah, it's not going to look great eventually, but for right now, in today's era, it looks neat.
Yeah.
Particularly with that filter over it that we see here. I mean, it says much with a brown filter, right? And then all of a sudden there's these bright red images there.
I feel like, if this movie were 3 or 4 years, this would all be in English with, terrible Spanish accents. He will march on Granada soon.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, that's a bad Mr. Deeds reference. Is that what that is, Mr. Deeds? John Turturro jumps out of a tree.
We get it. You guys are lovers.
Yeah. This is... I really do appreciate they did all of this in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wondered how many languages Michael Fassbender actually knows. Because his German is excellent. It seems, I don't know German, but it seems excellent in the X-Men movies and in Inglourious Bastards as well.
As many as the script requires.
Yeah.
Into the brown with you. One of these fucking guards is gigantic. It'll be the next shot when they cut back to the prisoners.
That guy?
Fucking look at that guy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Not really a man, but just like a muscular square.
Yeah.
He's strong mad.
Yeah.
And then the other guy is just the jailer or the
We have strong mad in a mask and then Senor Card Gauge in a mask.
Yeah.
Like this guy. Yeah, what the fuck is that guy doing? He's the accountant?
No, that guy is
Discount Jason Momoa.
He also keeps his rancor in his spare time.
Yeah.
Is what he does.
So basically, they're just fighting the Dark Souls 2 villains before they become zombies.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is my wife, the Queen, generic Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You don't say.
Man, the romance languages are so much more lovely to listen to than a lot of other languages.
I think that's why they call them romance languages, Ryan.
It certainly has part to do with it.
Like even though he's angry, it still sounds nice to listen to. And like German, where it's like very harsh at all times.
Everything's scary sounding.
I like how his hair is set up to look like laurels. I think
Yes.
that's a really cool effect on him. That he's achieved victory at this point, right? Effectively, so now he gets to wear laurels.
Yep. Wants to look stylish and be bald.
So we've got the two assassins. Apparently, Fassbender's mentor is one of the prisoners here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're alluding to.
Yeah. For a quick second, when it flashed back to actual Fassbender in the present, I thought just like the guard was just punching him.
Oh, yeah.
I guess. Sorry, not really related, but switching back and forth so frequently between Animus and memory vision.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is really well edited. Like it's
Yeah.
very, very smooth
Yeah.
with those transitions.
Yep. Well, it's got this movie had a $125 million budget, made $240 at the box office. So
Okay. Just about successful.
just about, but not
Didn't blow anybody away.
no.
Yeah, they're not racing to the front to make another one.
No.
They probably would like to, but
It took a while to actually make this movie too, didn't it? I thought this movie had
it did. There was talk of it for years.
The backflip off the post.
Yeah, this is a great visual fight here.
Right. And I mean,
Again, good editing.
and I obviously, I don't have insider information, but I've always been frustrated with how frequently video game movies in particular can be stuck in production hell for so long. Like Doom went through that.
Yeah.
I was actually really excited for a while there. There was supposed to be a BioShock movie from Gore Verbinski, the guy who did The Ring and Pirates of the Caribbean, the first two movies.
Yeah.
And I was really excited for that, but it never came to fruition.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some other ones, but they typically get stuck a lot.
I feel like it's mostly story stuff. Like, how do we do this thing to make it a?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times they buy the rights to it, and then that gets reported that they're making a movie when
Yeah.
they're not really actually making a movie.
They just secure the rights, while it's hot.
Well, it's hot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for you, Ryan, and we get frustrated when names get attached to it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they start
Oh,
going,
the other one. That's what I was thinking about. Uncharted.
yeah,
That's another one that's getting kicked around a lot.
That's been kicked around for like 5 or 6 years now, though.
Well, and at one point too, wasn't the Resident Evil movie set to basically mirror the first movie or the first game, and it had a big director attached to it, didn't it? It had actually a zombie director attached to it.
I think it was. Okay, so I don't know if George Romero was supposed to originally direct the first one, but there was Capcom held a sweepstakes with the release of Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation 1 that if you won the sweepstakes, would be in a commercial for the game directed by George Romero.
Oh, okay.
So this is a nicely shot chase scene. It's moving a lot. There's no fruit stands though, so loses some points on that.
Yeah, it's got the very kinetic feeling that the game would let you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's basically like you can touch any surface and jump off of it.
I still cannot suspend my disbelief when they start running on ropes, though.
Yeah.
The bird thing is a reference to the games.
Yeah.
Again, this movie
That's
does
cool.
have really cool choreography.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The skill level of the characters is really cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, they show that they're not if you watch what I like in the choreography on these things is that they're not superheroes. They're typically just one step ahead of everybody else. What it is. So they're
they're good at tucking and rolling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're doing half the time.
Here we go again. Jump and roll.
They're doing as much dodging as they are actual attacking.
Yeah.
Also, it helps that no one can aim.
Right.
Yep.
Like any good mook, they can't aim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mooks. Grunts.
Man, they're putting so many door makers in the business.
I need a new door.
The assassins showed up again.
Yep.
Oh
no! Our prices are falling.
that visually, that's
Yeah,
so neat.
it's super
I
cool.
love it.
Just like a Dark Souls villain just hiding around the corner on a ledge.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and I completely agree. Except in Dark Souls,
Again,
you'd
just
be dead.
long pause.
Yeah.
Let me look down at you for at least 3 to 5 seconds. If anything, this scene goes on for too long. It's a lot of the same kind of things. Like, let's jump to another building.
Yeah. They just... Part of that, I think, is because they didn't establish the city at all. So they're just running through nothing for us right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't know any of these places. We don't know where they're going. We don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You can't rope run like this.
Yeah,
you can't do this.
We just know that they're running away.
Yeah. Ba-ba-da-ba, Again, just not the same without the John Williams soundtrack.
We go now, Dr. Assassin.
Yeah. I mean, they're just murdering guys in black outfits through a city at this point. Like, we don't know what their ultimate goal is.
They're having a war against that haircut because that haircut is terrible.
Yeah, this is a cool shot, actually.
The bowl cut, yeah.
And then off the wall. Whoop up. That's really cool.
Yeah. The smile back that she gives him is awesome, too. Just Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, Kool-Aid Man's his way to the scene. Into it. Yeah, see, again, now, like, into another little hallway.
Yeah. Like, where are we going?
Well, I mean, it's like
into
a
the
great
textile market now.
It's a great big 007 chase scene, but it's in the middle of the movie instead of the beginning.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of those in the middle of the movies that also go on for way too long.
No, that is actually a good point, Ryan. I would just think that that we know they're trying to run away, but we don't know where. I guess
Yeah,
is what
just
it is.
away.
Even if I don't need a full establishment. I don't need to walk through the city at some point. But if we would have known, hey, this is the assassin hideout land.
Yeah, we need to get to.
We need to get to X.
Yeah,
because even those Bond things, he's usually trying to get somewhere.
He has a destination.
Yeah,
a rendezvous point.
Yep.
More tall buildings to jump off of.
Well, that's basically what that game is. It's like climb as high as you can and jump off of it.
Yeah.
Did we miss the callback where one of the guards falls into a
hail bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed that already.
Yep.
This is a straight callback to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the image right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again,
well, that was always the coolest thing of those games was how high can I jump or how high can I climb and then jump.
Yep.
But.
Whee!
Yep.
Oh no!
I don't get why that takes him out of it though.
Get all the change that fell out of his pockets.
Yeah. The jump was too cool. You can't do it. Too rad for the body to take.
The claw, it moves.
That guy brought his medic bag, but didn't open it at all.
Yeah.
Just for show.
This will help.
They get just pretend to be OSHA compliant.
Yeah.
Pour some tussin on it.
Mm.
This is super ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ominous. Ominous.
This is where they put the adamantium in him.
The animus is ominous. Yes.
Hugh Jackman's like, I know what this feels like.
Yep. And he comes up and he's super jacked.
Right.
Starts flailing around.
Oh, that's comforting.
Yeah.
We had to remove your penis to save your legs.
Yup. Yes, you are. You are going to die in here.
You know, like the total opposite from the first time you went in.
Yeah. What is the light?
I suppose you could explain that as like, the first time you go in, you're not synced up, you're not doing crazy jumps and crap. But for that one, it's like, oh yeah, gonna have you jump off of a building.
Let's put the laughy crazy guy inside of there.
Yeah.
I'm pooping. Here's more things we stole from your life.
Maybe the chair is powered by poop. You ever think of that?
It could be. It's an eco-friendly chair.
Wait a second.
Oh no. More long shots. More long shots. Again, another shot, I'm complaining, that should be about 30 seconds shorter. Like this.
Long pause.
Yeah.
Where'd you get this necklace?
Yeah.
I feel like Fassbender could have been a good Batman.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah. 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 I think, actually, I'm going to propose this to you. I think Fassbender would be an interesting Nightwing.
Too old.
He is, but if you
Had he been younger.
if you do the Batman like they have right now in the DC universe, who's supposed to who's clearly
He's been doing it 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, like I think he would be an interesting Nightwing. They're going to make Nightwing way younger,
Yeah.
but somebody who's like in his 30s, which Fassbender can pull off on that.
That's still too old for Nightwing.
But if Batman's been doing it for 20 years,
Yeah, but I still want him like late 20s at the latest.
so
I am
He'd be
fucking gorgeous.
yeah. I just no necklaces. The wound on the back of his neck is a good.
Oh, yeah.
Right
And
there. It's good
I like
continuity.
in that shot actually. I like that the wound is there, but the camera doesn't focus on it.
Yes. Yeah. It's just there.
It's there enough that you can see it, and
And that speaks to the bleed effect. If they would have done that with the bleed effect, I think it'd be
Right.
way cooler. Way
Same
more
approach. Yeah, I agree.
to the point
there
where
he
like
is, just folding his arms.
folding his arms.
Sergeant Beer Gut here.
Yeah.
A ghost opened the door.
Is that a
Oh.
lawnmower? What is that? Oh,
It's his chair.
in that shot it looked.
I thought it was like an exercise bike. That's what those handles were. Dr. Reekin, that's what the DR stands for, probably.
Maybe. Jeremy Irons
Yeah.
fucking acting up a storm, man.
I love Jeremy Irons.
He's great.
Yeah, but
His eyes look interesting in that. They're like the little pinpricks of white you see in them.
Yeah. I mean, they clearly thought this movie could be a series that could go somewhere. They put a lot of power behind this movie. I don't remember it being marketed all that much. I'll be honest with you.
2016. Oh, because it came out the year of the election. That's why.
There's probably some of that into it.
Because it was like fourth quarter 2016.
Okay. Yeah. It just... Which, in that case, making 240 is not terrible for this. Honestly. A video game movie
But
that came out way after the video game was like...
let's be honest here. They put a new one out every single year.
Yeah. Well,
They're on like nine.
Yeah. I mean, the heyday of Assassin's Creed is not right now.
Right. Although I've heard the latest one is pretty good.
Yes, I've heard that too.
They couldn't go forward in time anymore, so they had to go backwards in time.
Yeah.
But
again, he's cool.
Yeah.
It's so slow. What are we looking at?
some mana potions.
Did you see that the pins on those are the assassin symbol?
Mm-hmm.
Of course they
That's
are.
kind of cool. I didn't notice that before. I really want to see that snowman movie with Michael Fassbender.
Just looks at the snowman and
Look
just
at the
squints.
snowman and squints. Yes. Birds.
I actually find this room to be disturbing with that ceiling.
Yes. It's something out of Equilibrium.
Oh, this movie's so good.
Yes, it is. And
Just
the
just
spiritual
stare blankly off camera.
Yeah,
Good.
the spiritual sequel of Ultraviolet is not.
Yeah. We should do that movie, actually. It might be on the list. I would like to do that movie.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now, the director of Equilibrium, Kurt Wimmer, had some tie-in to Metal Gear.
Yes, he did.
And
You're
I
right
can't
about
remember if... I think he was one of the writers for it, or if he was supposed to be attached to the... Again, another video game movie that was whirling around.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
This is so slow. Just go somewhere.
Ponderous pause.
Like-
Ponderous pause.
Just do something.
All right. If we made a drinking game of take drinks in between people's exchanges, we would die in
Yeah.
this scene.
Just
It's been like a full 30 seconds and no one has said anything.
yeah.
There's a little murmuring soundtrack.
And for some reason, there's an operating room light over a desk that nobody doesn't have a chair at it.
Yeah. All right. Which one of you looks vaguely like my dad?
Yeah.
Hi, lady from the Ring.
Hey guys from Grateful Dead concert.
Yeah.
Sadako,
Like Sam
right?
Neill?
That'd be great.
That'd be yeah.
Sam Neill is
Mystery Sam Neill.
amazing. What are you drinking there, Irons? I would like to know.
So, as
Apple
always,
juice.
we're watching this with the subtitles. And the subtitles arrangement is very interesting because the text is aligned with where the person on screen is talking. So we just had that little exchange between Jeremy Irons and Rian Courtard. I don't care enough about this movie to know what their actual names are, but it was aligned left for Jeremy Irons and aligned center or more right for when they both are on screen, just to give a designation of who was talking.
Yeah.
Which I have never seen something like that.
I've actually seen that quite a few times. So this guy here, Michael Fassbender's dad, the actor we just discovered in our mid-podcast break, is
You're
actually
ruining
the
the
son
secret.
of Mad Eye Moody here in real life.
Yes.
It's a nice little continuity.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a really cool idea.
You're an assassin, Cal.
Wrong actor.
Yeah.
I'm
He's not-
aware.
We're not watching Goldeneye. You're a spy, Jimmy.
So, hold on. Why is this room empty now?
'Cause
Did
they
all the
all-
orderlies
they-
just cart everyone out? or
Yeah, they did actually did. Yeah, they showed it.
Okay.
They were carting everybody out.
I thought they were just helping them around, but yeah.
Yeah.
So then the Animus has been around for 30 years?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Question mark?
I mean, that's the hint that he's saying right
Yeah.
there, right?
But I do like I am a big fan of Brandon Gleeson.
Yes.
Oh, he's excellent.
He is a great character actor.
And,
Well, that's probably a little.
I mean, let's see. The first time I saw him was 28 Days Later. Was the first movie I saw
Oh,
him
yeah,
in.
he's the father.
Yeah. Which is an incredible fucking movie.
Oh, it's so good.
I think. Oh, he's in Braveheart. I did not know he was in Braveheart.
Yes, he is.
Mm.
Yep.
Right.
So that probably was the first thing I saw him in. But Gangs of New York probably.
No,
I've
it's
heard
such a
that's
great-
good.
That movie's
You've never
so
seen
good.
Gangs of New York?
I haven't seen
So
it, no.
good. I have the opinion that I don't think is popular, which is that I also like 28 Weeks Later.
28 Weeks Later is a very good movie. It just doesn't maintain the level of quality
Oh yeah,
that 28 Days did.
No,
but
it
it's still really good. It's
Yeah.
a great sci-fi movie.
the one of the things I appreciate actually is the plot device that they use
Yeah.
to restart the epidemic.
Right.
28 Weeks Later, I think it's a really cool plot device.
So we've talked over a lot of this movie just now, and you haven't missed anything.
No.
They're interacting and just saying that he's going to go do Animus stuff. is
Yep.
what it is.
Yeah.
And just the fish tank that doesn't have any fish in it,
You just don't get it, James.
and the desk that doesn't have any chairs at it.
Those lights probably don't have any bulbs in them either.
Yeah.
Right.
Now he's walking with the cop from Terminator 2.
Blue
Robert
filter.
Patrick, yeah.
Blue filter.
You know, I'm going to give it to Abstergo. They are very good about making sure that they have fire extinguishers in every room, if you've noticed.
Yeah.
Again,
So-
the dedication of assassins here. They're so dedicated to it that they will attack their own to make sure that they can't give away the
So
secret.
the young guy that's in the headlock right now, that actor's name is actually Callum, which is the main character's name in this movie.
The head of security still hasn't done anything, mind you.
Nope.
He is nothing but resting bitch face.
Yeah.
I'm going to do
Yeah,
this.
just to get to shirtless now for reasons.
Right.
Yep. Hey, man, you know what? If I worked out and got to that level of cut, I'd be like, I'm going to do this whole movie with my shirt off. You guys would have to come up with a plot reason that I have my shirt on.
Yeah. Exactly. You could have just paused the movie and put up a link to Merriam-Webster for the audience, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or a link to Wikipedia.
Hmm.
Did you know?
Yeah.
Fassbender.
It just forecasts that, like, I am going to kill you.
So the scar on the back of his neck
It also
almost looks like the Assassin's Creed.
Yes,
Yeah.
it also looks, the more I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's the logo.
I like that he puts it in there. He's like, I'm doing this. Like, I don't know. He becomes kind of a cool character more.
Yeah.
Which
Look
is
at me
why
in my sweatpants.
Yeah. Which is why, like, the laughing fit sequence really just doesn't seem to.
It's so just
it's jarring.
tonally jarring. It's just like
Yeah. I am Jesus.
Yeah.
I am Assassin Jesus.
Yeah, even as
There you
the
Cool shot.
mm-hmm.
The Eagles are coming. And now we zoom in on Minas Tirith.
Yep. That we do.
Oops, they accidentally sent my brain to the dancing baby video from years ago.
Oh, no.
Kick me back out.
Oh, no. I want to be the guy that drives the spear.
The lance cart. Or not the pike cart.
The pike bike.
The pike bike.
That's a long hike for a pike bike.
Yeah.
So, we drank all of our nice, delicious sour.
Oh, it was very good.
Very good. Very good. So, now we're now onto our backup beers. So, we're doing a little bit of a throwback where we each are drinking different beers. What do you guys got?
I have me some Double Magician, which I don't think we drank on the show before.
No, we have not, but it's been
But
around our social circle for a while.
Yeah, it's just been hanging out in the fridge for a while. This is good. This is a good drinkable beer. I like it. It
And Ryan,
tastes.
who makes that beer?
This is Shorts, which actually just had a nice little article in the Detroit Free Press.
Yes,
Yes,
they
they
are
did.
doubling their production.
But yeah, I like this a lot. Weirdly, in a good way, this tastes like fall leaves smell.
Yes,
to
okay.
me.
Earthy.
Okay.
But in a good way. Yeah. I find this very pleasant.
The filter is not applied here.
You are right.
This shot looks completely different than the rest of the movie.
I think if the filter had been applied in that shot, this would look just terribly monochromatic.
Oh, I don't want it there. I'm just
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I think
know.
it's interesting that it's not in this shot, and I actually think that it looks way better than the rest of the movie. Like
It looks a lot like Gladiator now.
which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
If more films emulated Gladiator, I'd be down with it.
Yeah. Okay, you can have him back.
I was kind of hoping for a toss.
Yeah, just pushes him in the water, trips him real quick.
Just hammer throw him.
All right. Be very, very careful with this lament configuration.
Yeah.
But I am drinking a Sweetwater 420 Extra Pale Ale from Georgia, which I think Jordan brought back, you guys said?
Yeah.
You did.
Yep.
So,
Thanks,
very
Jordan.
nice, drinkable pale ale. Very good for a Sunday afternoon like we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I, from Shorts, I have Machu Picchu,
which is delicious.
which is very good.
And a good pun.
Yeah, double IPA with Lilikoi, and it is really well done. I really like it. It's not as hoppy as I expected it to be.
I attribute to that to the kinds of hops that they're that are in that double IPA. I can't think of many beers I've had that have that blend, and maybe the passion fruit at the end kind of subdues the bitterness.
Yeah. We missed a shot that I really actually do like in this, where they cut to Fassbender in the modern age standing, and then his ancient lover is standing next to him looking down.
Yeah.
And then they edit it back and they fill in his other character. It's really cool.
Yep. Turn down for what?
On 3.
Oh, bad landing. They are going to have to settle for the bronze.
Jump in once the smoke clears.
That was cool.
That's a great shot. Again, the
good
choreography.
good hair movement.
Yeah.
The choreography in this movie is just so good.
Yeah.
Which, if
That was cool too, coming out of the fog.
Out of the
or out of
fog.
smoke.
if they would have spent less time in the future and made the future more mysterious and spent more time in the past, I think I would have liked this movie a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no one plays Assassin's Creed for what's happening in the
That's
present.
a great shot too.
Yeah, that's
I
a very that shot's very reminiscent of The Cell.
Yeah, and I think part of it is just because from a filmmaking perspective, they make the past is way more visually interesting. The shots are better, and there's way more to play with.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And story wise, it's more interesting too.
Yeah. Just more dramatic pause. Dramatic pause. Dramatic pause. Drink, drink, drink. Drink, drink, drink. Drink, drink.
Fuck it. I'm playing the game.
Okay.
Here it
All
comes.
right. Here we go.
And was it Ryan? You made mention.
Fooled you.
Oh, gotcha. I can't remember which one of you made mention that they do not sexualize Coulthard at all.
Yeah.
Marion at all.
No.
They do the same with his.
Oh yeah,
the female assassin. In the
it's
past.
they have the
She's
same
just-
outfit.
She's just awesome.
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yep.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, if I was
they'll
in the,
sexualize Fassbender, which
whatever.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, shit. If I looked like that, you're right, James. I would probably never wear a shirt.
There better be an indispensable plot reason why I have a shirt on.
It's in my contract. It's in his contract.
Yeah. No shirts.
No shirts for at least 15 minutes worth of the movie.
So I'm curious to know how that roundhouse kick happened in real life, given the machine that he's attached to.
Yeah, there's one point where he rolls also, which I'm kind of just like, that doesn't functionally work.
His little belt thing goes around. It just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I'm just willing to like handle
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, all right, whatever.
You'll get murdered by the Fassbender.
I like that. That's a good shot. It's a brutal shot, but it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly knowing
It's one of the few times you see blood in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which they didn't have to make this PG-13, but they did it. They did enough,
Well, I mean,
they did enough that I'm not faulting it for being one. What?
so I have this opinion on stuff like that. If it is an MA rated game, then they should be making these at least PG-13, if not R-rated movies.
Certainly.
Yeah, but they
capture
wanted
the-
to have more of an audience, so they got the PG-13 rating, which makes sense.
That's
and,
fine, but like,
and thinking about at least the original game, like there's nothing that violent about it other than people getting stabbed.
yeah,
It's not like gratuitously violent as far as like the gore goes.
no, but I mean, if you think like from a standpoint, an MA game is supposed to be the equivalent of an R movie,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, that to me is where oftentimes much of the video game industry is failing. That they know these MA games are being sold at rates that are not for adults only.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have an impact on that's a completely different topic to talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
But
relevant.
I don't. Yeah, it's relevant, but I don't want to see these video games try to take these what are very like adult topics in these cases, like assassinating people, and try to dumb them down so they can get a G rating or PG rating or something like that, right? I mean, this should be if you're trying to capture the stories and everything that have made these popular, you should be telling them at the level that the game is created at too.
Sure, and to work off both your points, I mean, a game like Assassin's Creed can be brutal without being gratuitous.
Right.
Yes.
Like it can be brutal enough to substantiate an R rating.
Yes.
Without pushing the limits and trying to go beyond it.
Right.
know?
I mean, you can get an R rating just for the amount of violence in something, even if it's not gory violence.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's raining mooks.
Right. And I mean, and there's also something different too that an MA game, you are the person taking the actions to do those. So I understand where PG-13 level violence will probably get you an MA rating. But
potentially,
it depends if you are subduing or killing your opponents. Like, because the gameplay of Assassin's Creed and the gameplay of the Arkham Asylum games is pretty much the same thing. You're stalking, then you swing down, you punch some folks.
Yeah, and I mean,
but
so
the Arkham Asylum games, you are clearly knocking them out.
Yeah, they go to great lengths to
show
that.
Yeah.
But
this game, you murder everyone.
Well, this one, you murder someone. you murder people. But like how combat is done is consistent across those games.
Absolutely, yes.
How does combat?
Yep.
Yeah, it's very fluid. There's a lot of jumps and dives, and
okay,
I like
here,
that he takes a shot.
I love this shot, and then I
real
love
quickly
this.
surface tension,
the dagger into the ground.
Whoop.
Yes, I love
Yeah, that's super cool.
It's so cool.
I don't understand why he throws the dagger down.
Break the surface
tension,
of the water.
so it doesn't die. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and
so
it also captures how well trained the assassins are, right?
Yes.
So apparently that was a physical stunt. They had a stuntman jump down like 130 feet.
And
like a free fall.
Really?
And
Yeah.
That's
throw it into
fucking
the
cool.
water.
It was
That's
it was
awesome.
like the longest free fall that's been on film in like decades.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
very cool of
incredible
them.
then.
Yeah.
I'd love to know the name of the stuntman who pulled that off.
Yeah.
Good work.
Because they were trying to do like as much practical stuff, at least for like physicality stuff, as they possibly could.
And as is common for us on this show, I'm always for practical effects whenever you can.
Absolutely.
Yep. You get a chubby for it.
Yeah. Totally. Yes. 6 to midnight. So I'm going to circle back to the ratings discussion, and I mean, so you guys are aware a PG-13. So let me say this differently. An R rating is the least lucrative rating that you can get in the mainstream media.
Correct.
Typically. So you're likely to get more return on your investment for something lower than an R rating. So that's more incentive to try and squeeze into that bucket if you can.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Bird. No, I understand why you would go for a PG-13 rating. I completely get that. I just don't want to see these kinds of films get into like PG or anything weird like that.
Yeah. All right, so James, to answer your question, stuntman's name was Damian Walters, performed a free fall from a height of 125 feet.
Damn.
Lasted almost 3 seconds with a 61 mile per hour impact speed.
That is
highest
wild.
free fall on
Truly
film in 35 years.
Incredible.
Good work, Damien.
Yes.
There's 0% chance you're listening to our podcast, but good fucking
You
work.
are awesome.
Also, Fassbender did 95% of the fights in the film.
Good for him.
Dude, that guy's awesome.
So did Ariane Lebed, who I assume is his female counterpart.
The Christopher Columbus deal right here, which is awesome, which was what Matt, you were talking about, Max. So they pull in someone famous here, which this is this is 100% a staple of the games.
Oh yeah.
And so here, this is the one scene where that's not translated what he's saying. So it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, the characters in the movie address
so
it.
They have so they have the reveal of like, oh, it's Columbus or whatever.
It's narratively omitted on purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
But one thing I will say about this movie is it plays it safe by having it set in a Christian-oriented society, as opposed to the original one where it was set in the Middle East during times of the Crusades. And I remember the first thing on screen of that game was this game was developed and created by people of multi-ethnic
Yes.
and religious
right.
backgrounds or whatever.
So I mean that speaks to that.
But that was also 2008.
Yes, much of the series that follows from that is still like, just because the Templars are so associated with the Catholic Church is still against the religion aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
To speak to your point, it doesn't have the East versus West feel of it in those cases, because you're playing, like, in the second game you're playing Ezio, who is actually just an Italian dude. So it doesn't surprise me that they didn't go with that, like you said, but they still could have gone other places.
How is this not extremely suspicious?
Yeah.
Well, they're used to his steak nonsense, his chicken nonsense.
Yeah.
So now we see, well, not yet. Okay, yeah. So now we see Michael Fassbender becoming the Quetzalcoatl,
Yeah.
the one who is many.
Basically. This is another cool shot.
Yeah. So we see that's his, his 15th century Spanish self, but there are a bunch of actual other, I guess, characters from the games, like, amongst that crowd.
Right.
I can't pick them out because I haven't played
I don't know
them,
their names, but I recognize them.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, little callbacks that are... This game does... You pointed out, it's really true. This game does a lot of the callbacks
Again,
to video
movie.
games necessary.
Now you're pulling what I was doing and saying this is a game as opposed to a movie, but yeah.
Yeah, the movie does the callbacks that are great. Like, that's
I think it's
the
the
Revolutionary War guy.
Yeah.
It's cool. I still think, personally, that they could have done one of the game stories. And I see that oftentimes. I think that to me is a fault of video game movies. That it's like, okay, people love this story, right? This game told this story, and that's what people got crazy about and everything. So let's make something that's sort of like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
no, take that medium and tell you can't tell that
That
exact
story in a different medium.
but you can tell that story through a different medium and with a different or a slightly different take on it.
That was cool.
Yes, these are the choreography in this translates to here. I'll approach this in the post movie portion, because there's a analogous deal to this that I think Ryan and I can both speak on.
I have my own
wondering
thoughts
if you're
about
thinking about the same thing I am.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk more about that. Like, I feel like you could have an entire conversation about video game adaptations going their own way as opposed to trying to be faithful adaptations. So.
Good
Blue filter.
choreography.
Gotcha, bitch.
Did
You're
they
a
just
cadaver,
forget that
Harry.
He had that knife.
King of the 5 points.
Yeah.
And that's a little callback to his mother.
Yep.
Are there a lot of blonde white ladies that live in Spain?
No, that's his mom.
Mexico. She was in Mexico. But,
is that where
but
it was?
still, yes.
So that's
showing that she has an ancestor.
right.
No, I think...
That was her.
No, I thought that was his companion.
No, that's her.
It wasn't. It was Marion Cotillard.
It's Marion
for sure.
Cotillard for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So that she has an ancestor of some kind. So I mean, that's part of it. Is this movie opens a lot of doors that it doesn't. That I don't know if they're going to step into.
Right.
If they do anymore, I hope they do, because I think that in the same way as the series, if they learn from their mistakes of this movie and make a more interesting movie, because they lean more heavily on the assassin point, the assassin scenes and everything, they could make a cool, interesting series out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If the movie were able to accomplish the same sort of like self-actualization that the games did, it would be a great movie.
It would be
to follow.
Maybe. I mean, with how this kind of ends, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk more about the ending of this movie when we get to it. We're about to go into Act 3, so.
Yep.
Remember who you are. You are my son, and the one true king of the Pride Lands.
So,
what's interesting,
She is kind of in Mufasa mode there.
Yeah.
he is. But he hasn't heard the creed before, except in his
memory,
genetic memories. So it's a neat scene in that aspect that like he's accepting.
Well, yeah, you saw him doing his kata in his cell where he's like, this is how you stab someone.
Stab kata.
But it is. I'll say this: it is strange that an organization predicated on the idea of free will and everything else, right? It is your choice. Is humanity's choice to do good or bad things to themselves. That they drive home in this that like the reason you're an assassin, to make fun of Ryan here, is because you're an assassin, Harry. Like, you know, it's not, he doesn't choose to be an assassin.
It's in his genetic memory.
Yeah.
It's in his bloods.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And maybe that's the whole thing of him going into the machine, that he has chosen to do these things.
Yeah.
But
a lot of hand crossbows in this movie.
yeah. And now all the assassins are going to use all the assassin weapons that Abstergo just happened to leave lying around
like,
everywhere.
Oof.
That looks awful,
Yeah,
by
that's-
the way.
A shoe knife. Good old shoe knife. Shirt. I don't have time to put a shirt on.
Yeah. So, do you think that guy had any idea what happened to him? Like,
No.
he came around the corner and I'm going to take some guys out, and then just gets hit with an arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So this plot only works if none of these guards have guns.
Yes, because it's not a prison.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're also, they're in Spain, right? I don't know what Spanish gun laws are, but it'd probably be hard
They're the
arm
Templars. They can have
true
whatever
dudes.
laws they want.
yeah,
True.
they probably
They
would have had access
They
to guns.
faked a guy's death
Yeah,
and are holding him not hostage.
in a $3 billion facility.
yeah.
Hey,
Good choreography again. Even more impressive now that we know that it was mostly
Fassbender.
Fassbender, yeah.
He gone.
Yeah.
Next stab.
That'll do it.
Oh no! Real actor's named Cal.
Yeah.
Not White Dudeman.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've always the blade at the end of a
The
rope
chain.
It's a cool
is one of the
idea.
coolest fucking weapons.
Yeah.
It also seems like it'd be fairly easy to thwart, but I guess I don't really know.
It seems like that wouldn't be the best thing to be like, I'm going to grab that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the power went out, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm talking about
Flex.
the knife on the end of the rope.
I've broken the glass ceiling.
Yeah, I'm
I-
fine with him climbing
I
the
think-
animus.
A lot of instances I've seen of it is it has a weight on the end, and it's usually like attached to like a knife or
Yeah.
a scythe
Yeah.
that you don't throw that part. You throw the other part. You use like the weighted end to like entangle or grab things, and then you stab them.
Oh.
I think. Do not quote me on it.
The Atletico Madrid.
Which one of us
Staying
has
there,
Jackie
please.
Chan's phone number? Let's figure this out.
He doesn't use a lot of weapons in his movies.
He's done the rope thing in at least one movie. It might have been a Rush Hour movie.
I think it
but
was Rush Hour.
No.
Did you know there was at one time when Chris Tucker was the #1 highest paid actor in
I
Hollywood?
do know that.
That
There have been rumblings of a fourth Rush Hour movie,
would be weird.
which would be tough because I think Brett Ratner is embroiled in some sexual misconduct allegations.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
no, I'm
I mean,
thinking of Bryan Singer. Never mind.
all right. Yeah, also him. But
Did
I mean, let's face it, he hasn't made a good movie since Rush Hour 2. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
Did you see that John Favreau has gotten a Star Wars live
TV show.
TV show?
Yeah, he's producing in some other.
So do you think that
capacities.
he's going to make himself the recurring bartender that they always see all the time?
Yeah, potentially. I don't know. I'm very hit or miss with people
great.
showing up in their own
Yeah.
stuff that they
Pack
produce.
of old pixie sticks.
Yeah.
This is the most important artifact in the world. I'll just store it with some sand in a box.
Yeah.
So Christopher Columbus actually died super. The rest of his family died, or when he died, didn't inherit all this stuff. The Spanish crown used some legal ramifications to
Of course they did.
steal all of his stuff back
Yeah,
because he kept being super
right.
annoying because he was a jerk. Because they're like, he got the contract signed with them that basically said that anything he found he could just become governor of, and he also got 10% of anything he brought back. So they weren't thrilled with that, and they kicked him out of his governorship because people kept complaining that even for that time he was too brutal when it came to slavery and everything
You don't
else.
say.
Yeah, amazing, huh?
He wasn't
You don't
exactly.
say.
a
He
good
wasn't a
dude.
nice guy. So
Hence
he got
the
recalled.
hence the negative aspect that quote unquote holiday has these days.
Yeah.
Grand Templar Hall,
Yeah.
London.
You sound like you're from London.
Same the guy,
Fucking
Armed
Sarah
Crossman
Marshall.
is still alive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean belts are cool.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I get stopped whenever I go through the metal detector because of my belt.
Yeah, but that's like by the TSA, not by the super secret Templar organization. It seems like they might have a little more strict security.
You also think they would have guns, but no,
Yeah.
just shock batons. Yeah, those are some words. It's a lot of coat racks in this room.
These people got a lot of coats.
Yeah.
I do like this turn of logic here.
Yeah.
The greater good.
Yeah. That's
Man, every time I eat my knife soup,
Yeah.
every time.
I mean, this just speaks to it, though. Like, the assassins are super cool. There's a reason why these games blew up. There really is. And the movie captures some of it, but doesn't play with it enough, in my opinion. Is what they spend too much time in the modern era. They don't spend enough time with the stuff that people really liked and enjoyed.
Yeah.
Well, I'll argue that they spent enough time in the past. This movie's too long, but they spend so much time in the past that it gets repetitive. Like that chase scene was just like, oh my gosh, another rooftop, another thing, and
Well, establish it more. Establish what's in the city. Where do they live? What's the assassin hideout? You know, I mean, those are things that I'm okay with learning. Everything that we've seen the assassins do has been really neat.
yeah,
Whether it's their technology or their creed or the way that
they're jumping.
the way they establish each other with themselves, how they respect each other, like all of those things have come off really well.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you don't want to spend the time doing that establishment if you're never going to return to it in the future. It sounds like it just feels like filler. Because
Well,
we have the complete story of Spanish assassin guy.
Yeah, but this is the movie going audience's first introduction into who assassins are, right?
Yeah.
So they get a little bit at the very beginning, but where is that building? Like, is that building around in the city, or are these guys running around and moving to save Spain because everything's collapsed in on them? Like, when does that time period happen, right?
Of applesauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Complete genetic roadmap of apples. We will corner the cider industry.
Finally within our reach.
Good shot. Particularly with the stained glass that has a very assassins-looking symbol on it in the background.
Yeah.
If we get a shot of it again, it's calipers,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
it
yeah.
looks like the assassin symbol.
Oh.
And then perhaps let it all out.
We talked over it, but earlier when everyone's filing into the building, there's people putting their hoods up and everything. It's a cool hint to how many assassins actually are in the building right now.
Right.
Something.
Dark side.
Yeah.
You started this, Sophie. Now you have to make a choice.
Thank you.
You know, I'm just going to say it. He looks way less cool in the assassin's outfit in present day. Versus
Yes, he does.
Past
You are correct.
pasty times. Pasty times.
Mm,
I'm
I
hungry
go
for
for pasties.
pasties. Muldoon's, man.
Oh yeah. There's like a couple pasty places around here.
Era.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they
We might have to have a
the
talk
Michigan
after
Tech Alumni Association had like a thing at Ford last
Okay.
summer, and they got pasties, and they actually shipped down a bunch of pickled eggs
That's cool.
from
Sounds wonderful.
from the dog, my bar of choice in Houghton.
Which made a cameo appearance in our most recent Delta Green scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It did. Try it this summer at Gen
Mm-hmm.
Con, where I'll be running it.
We have no shame here at GBBV.
Nope, cross promotion.
Yeah.
That's right. Damn it.
The hoods here in this part are cool because it's hinting at how the assassins got in and everything, but also the interconnectedness of these two organizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have been fighting for so long that they've begun to look like each other even.
Yeah.
So, what am I supposed to take away as far as the implications of the apple here? Like, it starts doing weird alien bullshit? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yep, it's weird alien bullshit.
Yep.
It's some, it's a superhero Act 3 MacGuffin.
It is the most powerful artifact on the planet. Is basically what you're supposed to take away from it. That nobody really, humanity knows its power, but does not know its purpose.
I'm thinking of that orb from that one episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where they touch it and they go dumb.
Yeah. Part of it, I think, Ryan, is that his hood doesn't fit as well on this modern outfit as it does in the past
Right.
outfit.
There,
The past, it's over his shoulders.
Yeah.
So
it's over his shoulders, and the way that the hood is sculpted, it's meant to evoke a bird's head. At least that's how it was in the original one. I think I got it a little bit in this movie, but in the present day, just like, oh, it's just some hoods.
yeah, it really is. It's just
But
not.
they're a lot closer cropped.
It's just the apple. The apple he got earlier. He did.
Marion Cotillard is so inconsistent in this movie. She's like, oh, no, you can't do this. And he's like, put him in the machine.
Yeah.
And then there's like, I'm not going to stop you from killing my father. Oh, my gosh, I killed my father.
The only thing I'll say is that it's one thing to be like, one thing to be like, okay, this guy didn't kill me, and I'm going to have you stop my father. And then another thing to be looking down at your dead father on the ground to be like, okay, yeah, I made the wrong choice.
Right.
That doesn't come off here, though.
Yeah, no,
I'll say that.
And clearly, had there been a sequel, or if there is a sequel, she's intended to be kind of the main foil, right?
Yeah. Yep. They are filing out of there in a quick but
Orderly
very
manner.
Yeah. Just
Firemen
They're
everywhere.
the upper crust. They know how to evacuate.
Yeah, firemen everywhere should use this as an example of how to leave a building.
Yep. But I think that orb just gives you the same powers as Enchantress. Suicide Squad.
So you just wiggle awkwardly and get all sorts of cool shit to happen?
You turn into Shakira.
Turn into Shakira.
Shadow London.
Yeah.
Wee panning shot.
I'm blue.
See, I
I'm
really
blue,
thought they were
I'm
going to be
blue.
zooming in on the Ferris wheel. Like they're going to be like on top of the Ferris wheel.
Nope.
But nope, they're just on this random building for
building.
reasons.
They're on a clock that isn't Big Ben.
Yes.
My hood is bad.
Yep. A lot of big open flaring hoods.
Yeah. You could fit two people in
That's the problem. They're flared way too widely.
Yeah.
I wanted them to jump off at the end.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Like all three of them. Wait, maybe they will and I'm just forgetting.
Bird.
That eagle exists through time and space.
Yep. It's the spirit of the assassins.
It is a temporally independent avian existence.
Oh, they do jump.
He jumps.
No.
But we don't get to see it.
Here you go.
Okay, well, that's finally over.
Up-tempo song playing.
No, not that up-tempo. Okay.
I don't blame the director. I blame the editor.
I blame the writer. I don't know. Too many dramatic pauses. Trying to be more serious than you actually are. Alrighty. Well,
okay.
Final thoughts on this.
Let's have that discussion, Ryan.
All right.
Okay,
Let's bring it up to
let's
Matt.
do it.
Go.
All right.
Okay, so
Produced by Fassbender.
the perfect example of a story that everyone likes in a video game form. and then
Also, it's funny because
it's
this is hilariously exactly what I'm thinking.
yeah. There is a novelization of the original Resident Evil,
Yes,
and it is
right.
legitimately one of my favorite books.
As a sci
Excuse me, novelization of the original game
The
or
original
novelization
game.
of the original movie?
The original
original
game.
game.
Okay.
It is hands down one of the coolest sci-fi books I've ever read.
Yes, it is. I mean, and in all reality, the book is only like 250 or 300 pages of a normal paperback. It
Yeah,
is
it's
a
not huge.
short book. It's not huge, and it does everything that you want out of it. It tells
Right.
the story of the first game in a narratively clean and logical way,
Right.
including, then this is what's pretty incredible, including all the puzzles.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, which was an achievement.
It's if you can find it, go buy it.
You know, I'm gonna look it up while we're
Like,
talking about
it
this.
is fantastic.
Yeah, the
and,
very first Resident Evil book.
and that is, and even the,
There's more Resident Evil books?
They novelized
They made a
most
bunch.
of the movies,
Oh.
and then they did independent ones too. Most of the games, I should say. The second one is also a good novelization, but the first one captures everything you'd want.
Okay.
And that speaks to taking a story and conforming it to the medium upon which you're telling. Video games
Right.
have a story they have to tell, but because of the interactive purpose of it, they're going to make you do you, and by you, the player character, do a lot of stuff that you should be able to have other characters in the story do, right? So the puzzles in the game, you solve all the puzzles. In the novelization, the puzzles are solved typically through collective means, which you can do in a movie form. I hold the regard that the novelization of the Resident Evil book should have been the basis for the script for the Resident Evil movie.
That's exactly right. So the book was written with a lot of detail and care from several of the major characters' perspectives from the game.
Yes.
So you got nice little snippets of what this particular character was going through in that continuous universe and fiction, and it was just great. It was a really good read.
And to take it, there's
The author of that book was S.D. Perry.
okay. A good example of that too, Max, is the Game of Thrones series. The Game of Thrones books are dense. There is a ton going on in them, but the HBO series has done a fantastic job of condensing that down and while still telling that story in a different medium. And I know book to TV show or movie is an easier transition than video games, but I do not understand why people and directors and writers continually take a video game and completely alter everything about it, whereas a book, they will still find those kernels that are necessary to tell that story. Right?
Okay, so I think that might be a factor of the narrative of video games as they've progressed over the years. If you think about a lot of video game movies, a lot of them are early 90s. Then it's like dead until Resident Evil.
Well, there's the Uwe Bowl time period too.
Whoa.
Toss that out the
We
window.
need to dip into those guys.
That's past Resident Evil. That's when
real.
like, oh, we can do it again.
I feel like that'd be
But
another.
let's talk about that Resident Evil movie. So the Resident Evil movie.
But I want to continue back on what I said just
Okay.
briefly. So you think about the early video game movies, which have featured on this podcast: Mario Brothers,
Nothing to
Double
do with the
Dragon, our unreleased episode, which we might eventually redo, Street Fighter.
Right.
Yeah. But none
those
of those
are pretty
have
much like those games aren't known for their narrative.
Yeah, there's
thing.
no-
You're
there's no-
punching guys in the street.
Yep.
You're fighting guys at airports.
You're jumping on
or you're
Goombas.
jumping on Goombas.
Yeah.
How do you make a cohesive narrative in 100 minutes, 2 hours?
I don't have a problem with those movies doing that. You have to do something different with those movies. But there
Yeah.
are games that tell stories.
Yes,
Right.
but I feel like as games progressed, they've gotten more story driven. Like you were talking about, like games where you could have puzzles or things that you could have multiple characters doing.
Yeah.
And on one point, yes, but when you have very narrative-focused games like Gone Home or perhaps Heavy Rain, from what I understand about that game,
Heavy Rain was very good.
where it's much more narrative-based. I mean, there's some puzzles, but it's still like it's a singular character focused. Or Alan Wake, for instance, I think, because it still has like its puzzles, but it's still set up in a way that it makes sense for one person to be doing it and has a strong narrative, which I think is easier to translate for film. And even for Assassin's Creed, the premise of it is very simple. You have a man in the present who's, through the magic of pseudoscience, is sent back to past to relive the memories of his ancestor.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's a thing, and it's like, well, why is he being sent back? You know, who the organization that's doing this? Blah 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 blah. And I think games have gotten more refined from a narrative point because the technology's there. They can have a clear, a clearer narrative that's able to be more easily adapted to film adaptations.
But doesn't that make the sin worse nowadays? Like, speaking to my point, that makes the fact
Yes.
that they're doing that nowadays
But
way worse
I think
than they're
that's
doing that
I
before.
think that's more of also of what games are currently being adapted for movies, or what, or it's more of you having to fine tune which games you're picking. Like,
Golden Tee, the movie.
yeah, but well, for example, what movie games have come out recently, other
Wait.
than Assassin's Creed?
So, what movies about games recently?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. What video game movies have come out recently?
It's really been just Assassin's Creed.
It's been feast or famine for a number of
Yeah,
years.
the
They haven't been able
constant-
to do it well.
the constant one has been
Resident
Resident
Evil
Evil, right?
games.
That's really been kind of
That's gone off on its own.
That's all right. I mean, that's that went off the rails,
It
and then
divided-
off the continent. And
Yeah.
it's in space now.
that diverged completely from everything that the
Everything.
game was about.
yeah,
Yeah, but the next one, or the one that's coming out soon, is Rampage.
yeah. Which again
Well-
is a game that has no narrative concept.
Yeah,
It's just it's a destruction movie.
It is monsters punching down buildings.
Right.
Which
This
I'm
time
not-
with The Rock.
But I'm not looking for anything out of that. What I'm saying is that if you pick these movies get made because they are big, right? They're not going around like Rampage is a super cheap thing that they can grab and throw The Rock against. That's something different, right?
Yeah.
They grabbed Assassin's Creed because Assassin's Creed was selling tens of millions of copies year in and year out,
Yes, it's a AAA game.
right?
That is,
And so
there isn't an equivalent as far as it goes, as far as AAA games.
why don't you take the story that everyone likes and adapt it? I don't understand that. You take books and you adapt those. Why are video games different? There's no reason for them to be different.
So
There is a
I feel-
narrative story in there.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you try to do a direct adaptation of thing, you're like, if say they were going to adapt the first one or the second Assassin's Creed, you know, people would be extremely anal over like, well, in the game it was because of this and because of that and blah 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 and whatnot. When you try to do a direct adaptation of something, you're putting a restriction on yourself, and you are trying to adapt a direct source.
It worked for Harry Potter. I mean,
But that's a different. No, you can't.
It's not different.
You can't make book to movie.
People make book to movie all
No.
the time.
Like you can't compare the medium
not?
of book to, because it's already written out on the page. A book is just a super detailed script.
There's a script. I mean, they have to write all this stuff out for games.
Yeah, but that's
They're
not
not sitting
how.
there just cranking away at a computer and eventually a video game hops out with
Well,
the plot behind it.
yes, but
Somebody writes the plot.
but video games are more free. You read a book, it only goes one way.
Video games only go one way.
Yes, but they're not reliant upon the end user or the player to do it the same exact way.
And then
no
you
matter
go to-
how
then
you
you go
read
to
Harry
the
Potter,
the-
the same exact things always happen in it.
Right, but then you go to the adaptation of the Resident Evil book. That's the reason why I brought that up. That game or that book did what you need to do with it, which is make a plot out, which is make a singular plot out of it. Video games end one way.
Mm-hmm.
We're not back in the era. I mean, eventually, every once in a while, Japan will release a game that does this, but we're not back in the era where there's 8 different endings to a video game anymore. Games end one way, right? There's a start point. There are certain cutscenes. There are certain events in a game that take place. So, and then there is an end. There is a narrative plot that goes there. It is your job as a writer, just the same way that they take with the books, when you adapt a book, to fill in the gaps of how to narratively take something from one medium to another to hit those major points. If you take the Harry Potter book, there's Harry. You get you introduced, right? You
Yeah.
get introduced to Harry. Harry's under the stairs. The owl. All the owl letters start showing up. Harry gets taken from the.
Is Harry the one that's the wizard?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
He gets taken from the lighthouse. He shows up at Hogwarts. Yada yada yada. Right? All those things happen. That doesn't happen the same way in the movie and the book, but it hits all those points and you get there.
So I'm going to make a statement that I have nothing to substantiate it with, but I wonder, it's more of a curiosity, I guess. I wonder if it's more so that in Hollywood, the folks that are putting video game movie adaptations together are still also those people who just, in general, just categorically view video games as a lesser medium overall.
I think you're right.
There's a condescension there that video games are for children.
They just don't respect the medium.
I think there's a lot of that. In my opinion, I really don't have much.
If we
to
put
go on.
Assassin's Creed on it and he goes into the past, they'll go to it. They'll like it. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They just want to see people get stabbed.
And I think, and again, I think that's a lot of what DC's problem is now with their cinematic universe. Is this the same condescension to the comic book audience, which is weird, given how successful Marvel has been?
Well, no.
Not condescending to their audience.
DC's problem isn't condescension towards comic book. It's trying to ape Marvel's game, but do it much quicker. They don't want to spend 10 years trying to get where they are. They want to do it. They want to do it in 3 years.
Well, in that same regard, though, I feel that that's still a form of condescension. That, like, well, they won't fucking care how good of a quality the movie is. We'll just, fuck, it'll have Deadshot and Harley Quinn in it, so people will go see it. Like fucking Suicide Squad happens, right?
Well, it boils it down, right? They looked at a Marvel movie and they were like, okay, what made this famous or what made this good? They had big actors in it, and there was action scenes, and there was a little bit of girl stuff in it. So let's go with that, and they go from there. I mean, I get that with it, but I think part of it too is they rushed it.
Yeah,
they didn't go with what you need to do to establish that big universe, right?
Right, and that's part of the thing too, is when something gets rushed, that's people high up saying, okay, we understand that we need more money to make this better, but people are going to come out and see it anyway because we have these names and these recognizable figures in it, regardless of the quality of the end product.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, and
on the one hand,
when did
yes,
Man of Steel come out?
2014.
14. Okay, so I was trying to think of when that came out in reference to the Marvel universe. Is that post Avengers?
2000? No, it might be 2015 because we were.
Figure it out.
Because you were sitting behind me.
That's way too late.
2000, yeah, because you and Jordan were sitting behind me there at midnight showing.
At Man of Steel?
Yeah,
that's the first one.
Yeah,
Man of Steel was 2013.
2013.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Man of Steel was early. I'm pretty sure Man of Steel was early.
So that's a year after the Avengers.
Okay, so then
so they were probably, at least for a little bit, overlapping shooting for a little bit
at that point. So to think of it that way, DC hadn't realized at that point really how big the Marvel universe was going to blow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'll excuse them for Man of Steel, but everything else after that, like from a Man of Steel not linking well into an expanded universe standpoint. But
well, they did that themselves.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to this, I agree with you, Ryan. I think it's just they do not respect a best-selling video game the way that they would anything else.
Right, and as someone who plays a lot of video games and always has and always will, that irritates the shit out of me.
And I'm not sitting here saying video games are art and you have to respect them because they're amazing. Because there's a lot of dribble and dumb crap out there.
It's the analogy. I mean, the analogy is there for any of the other mediums. You're going to have crappy books and great books, crappy movies, good movies. It's the same thing.
But if people go and do something, right? Mm-hmm. They go and buy this game because it is narratively interesting, particularly for a series like this, which is iterative, right? Mm-hmm. You are effectively doing the same thing game in and game out. Sure, they tweak it here and there and play with it and everything else.
Yeah, AAA game. Warcraft was the other video game movie that came out recently.
Yeah, which
you're right. Yeah,
which
there
certainly
it
has
is.
a lot going on. Honestly, if you were to take Warcraft from a narrative standpoint, Warcraft 3 is super great. You could make a movie out of that without a problem.
Yeah,
but to speak to that, you have a game that the gameplay is iterative. The only reason people are coming back time and time and time again is because the stories are interesting. They want to know what happens next.
In Warcraft?
No, in Assassin's
Creed. Yeah.
right? I mean, it's not a multiplayer game. Those I'm going to toss out the window. People buy Call of Duty because it's just the most recent thing that everybody else is playing. Toss that out the window. But when you have single-player games that are made time and time and time again, it's because people are invested in these characters and they want to know what's happening in the universe.
Right.
And so to not respect that, or to not think to yourself, hey, maybe I should make something that's adapted from this that people are familiar with and they want to see, and oh, guess what? It sold 60 million copies, so that makes sense. Maybe it's a good enough story that we could bring out to everybody else, is a short-sighted and maybe a disrespectful way to look at the medium.
And it's funny that we're doing this recording right now because Tomb Raider will be released soon.
Oh,
the new one with
Yeah.
Alicia Vikander.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see.
And you know what? The first Tomb Raider movie is actually not a terrible movie. It falls a lot, I think, with the way that this movie does.
Yeah,
It's just kind of a movie.
It's
Yeah.
a movie.
It's a movie.
It
the
does some
second
things.
one was
The
not
second
great.
one's not great, but the first one's around. I mean, it's there, right?
Yeah.
It attached a big name
Daniel
to it.
Craig in the first one?
Angelina Jolie is the.
But Daniel Craig
Yes,
is
Daniel
like
Craig.
Is he the bad guy?
I think so.
He's like
He
the
might be.
bad.
I'm gonna
He's
check
like
it
the
out.
bad explorer.
Okay.
I'm on phone duty.
Yeah, I
today.
think you're right. So, and I mean, that's a great example of another series that has a lot of that does have a narrative to it that's pretty interesting.
But again, it's what's the word you use? Same thing over and over again.
But I mean, that speaks again to the
It's
fact
like, oh,
that people
you're
wanna
going to
find
more
out the
tombs,
stories,
you're
right?
finding more things.
They
But
want to know the stories. So, particularly with the newest Tomb Raider, which I believe this movie looks like it's based off of, Ryan. Would you say that this Tomb Raider is based off of the new Tomb Raider?
Oh yeah,
series?
clearly.
Yeah.
Her outfit is identical. Plus
Yeah.
she's got
And
the
the new
pickaxe.
Tomb Raider
thing.
The new Tomb Raider series is narratively very rich. It is a very, very rich. game.
Again, I think that goes with the evolution of video games as a medium that allows that. Like, there's enough. Video games have become ubiquitous enough that we're like, we need to have something that attracts you to our product versus someone else's product, so we're going to put more investment into the story.
But I mean, that's been going on since the mid 2000s at this
So
point.
just real quickly. So as far as a game being effective narratively, you don't need fancy consoles and better
No.
horsepower to do that. I.e., Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, stuff like that.
Yep.
It's just that, to your point, Max, games that don't require you to read for 80 hours are a lot more conducive to having more colorful and story-driven narrative arcs versus maybe what could have been done in the 8-bit genre, or not genre but generation. I don't know.
So
and again, a lot of this is more
Yes.
just like player preference as far as like what do you enjoy playing, or like games I enjoy. They're never gonna make a fucking movie of them. I don't want to make a movie of them. Like, I'm fine with my video games being video games.
Yeah, and that's another discussion that we've had a lot. Is like these games don't need movies. Like a Metal Gear is a perfect example. You don't need a Metal Gear movie. It's plenty cinematic and just narratively fucked up and
I think
complicated as it should be.
I still think it would be an interesting thought process to
it'd be-
try to put that in your
Yeah,
movie
for
form.
sure.
And the only reason why I see these things and say this would be nice to have a movie is that these are, one, if we want the genre, like I would like the genre to be more respected from a narrative standpoint. That these aren't just things that people plug in and go around and stab people in the neck and just do stupid stuff for 30 hours, right? So they tell stories. They tell really interesting stories. And part of that, oftentimes, gameplay gets in the way of these stories a lot of time.
Yeah, because
Particularly
you have
the
to have
Assassin-
some sort of progress, measurable progress
Right,
in it. Whatever.
particularly in the Assassin's Creed
You need
game,
to go
where it's-
from this city to this other city and
Right.
now kill this other person.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, now I'm in this other place, and now I have to redo all the map stuff. Now I have to find everything again. Now I have to
Blah, blah,
buy these
yeah.
weapons and upgrade my armor so I can defeat this guy and yada yada yada. You don't have to do that in a movie perspective, but narratively, you can still tell that story. Whatever genre you're in, or whatever medium you're in, you can do that. You can go to Florence and meet Leonardo da Vinci and meet the Medici family and interweave yourself into these alternate histories. Because really, Assassin's Creed is just an alternate history story.
Yeah.
That's all the Assassin's Creed deals are.
Sure.
And you have these beautiful vistas and venues and everything else that you can get people into, particularly in the world that Game of Thrones is huge, that Reign is huge, that Downton Abbey is huge, that all of these stories that tell not the actual history of something that happened set in a time period, and Game of Thrones doesn't count towards that. I understand that. But,
Yeah.
you know, they're not alternative history. They're interwoven history. They're the background of history. And you have a world that is ready and willing and has shown that they absolutely are craving this kind of stuff. And I think that this movie just absolutely missed the mark by not grabbing onto that harder. And that's why I wanted more time period in the past.
It probably would have been a lot more successful if Marion Cotilliard's boobs were hanging out of her lab shirts, probably.
Thanks, Ryan.
Just saying.
So to lead into that, my view again on this, honestly, is no. It's too long. It's too boring. Brew again, yes. That was really good.
Both beers for you.
Yes, both beers for me are very good.
Yeah.
Mr.
I'm gonna
Max.
go. Yeah. View again, no, but with the caveat that I can appreciate that the game went off and did its own story for artistic freedom, particularly because this is a series of games where they've just been like, game is now in Renaissance Italy, game is now in Victorian London, game is now in revolutionary France. That they're able to they're able to find a smidgen of history and able to make a little story about it, even though it was kind of piecemeal together from a couple different games, but still were able to tell their own thing. And I don't know, like part of me was like, I'm glad they just didn't try to just ape. They weren't trying to just ape directly from a previous game. You know, there were some homages to previous games, but they weren't trying to retell the story of Ezio de Florence or whatever the hell his name is from Assassin's Creed 2 or whatever like that.
Right.
Which I don't know.
But they didn't tell a good story.
I never said it was a good story. I just said that they tried to do something original, which that is what I'm giving them credit for. So, yeah. Like, okay, so if they were to make a Legend of Zelda game, or excuse me, Legend of Zelda movie, would you rather they tell an original Legend of Zelda story or try to do a game or a movie based off one of the games?
I'd rather they do Oricana of Time because it's a really good story and we know what it is.
That's probably what I assume a lot of people would say. And I think the way that game is narratively told, yeah, because it has the, it'd be probably like a two-party kind of thing, but part of me is also like, I would want to see what kind of original story they could do. I mean, there's been enough terrible adaptations of the 90s that we've watched that it's just like, no, don't try to do your own thing. But a lot of those are movies where the games didn't have a strong narrative focus in comparison to Legend of Zelda stuff, so I don't know.
I mean, that's something we talked about with you brought it up, Ryan, the Uncharted series. They're creating that movie keeps getting caught in development hell because they keep rewriting the script and rewriting the script and rewriting the script. That is an incredibly narratively focused video game.
Yeah.
If you were to take the cool story of the first Uncharted, including a reveal that I won't spoil, but is really nuts and crazy and completely changes the way that you're playing the game, and throw that into the movie, I don't see a problem with that. Because I think Zelda's a weird case in that, right? Because Zelda is about all sorts of different stories of the young hero.
Yes, it's never the same.
So I can see them trying to do something unique on that because that speaks to the history of the series. But you don't have that with certain things. Like people don't show up to watch to more Uncharted movies because they want to see a guy in a Hawaiian shirt tell a younger guy about how hard life is and then go off and do things. They want to see Nathan Drake go and be an awesome guy.
I don't know. I don't have the strong enough communicative background to, I think, effectively argue my point. Well, I don't know. Like, I have an idea of, like, what I want to say, but I can't effectively communicate it, I guess. But I don't know. I guess part of me right now is just kind of looking for originality. Like, for example, just going back to Rampage, which is coming out, which I know is not going to be well. I think it's interesting that the monsters are mutated animals as opposed to people who got turned into giant monkey, gorilla, and lizard. Like, that's interesting. Do I commend them for doing that? Sure, it's interesting. Is it going to be good? No, of course not. But, it's different. So I don't know. So, view again, no. Fassbender has some okay acting, and the stunts are good, but too long, too pacing, too plotting.
Yeah.
You could edit this down 20 minutes easily just by cutting out a lot of extraneous scenes and whatnot. Brew again. I like this pale ale. Very easy, very drinkable. The oak age sour, maybe. Purely from a price point, no. I didn't like this immediately when I was drinking it, but I liked it more as it got warmer. So maybe. If offered, yes, but not going to go out and look for it. That's about all I can say about that. It borders on the sour, it borders on for sours like what I don't enjoy drinking it. Like, it has some interesting flavors going on, but there's, I don't know, a little bit, maybe just too much tannins and like oak age. Like, I find like the sour red ales aren't my favorites as far as these go. I'd much rather have a Goza, a non grape Goza.
Non-grape Goza. It
And
really
Ryan.
knocked our socks off, though. Oh, my turn.
Yes.
Oh, God, it's like I'm paying attention or something.
Yeah, our
I'm-
after movie discussion is almost going as long as this actual movie was.
Great. I'll start with brew again. I really like this sour a lot, actually. I like the oak flavor. I really like the tannins in it. I liked it better when it got warmer. I like this at room temp over the chilled temperature. I liked it a lot. The Double Magician was really good too, actually. I've had this before, but again, kind of an earthy fall kind of feeling I get from this beer. Easy drinking. I like them both quite a bit. I would prefer the sour from, I'm gonna say it's Panil. I don't know.
Panil Barriquée.
Barriquée,
That's the full name of the beer.
But you brought up a good point. It's an expensive beer.
Yeah.
It's fairly pricey, but very good. View again. No, I don't like this movie. It's not terrible, but I mean, I have nothing really new to add that you guys haven't covered already. But I want to try and touch a little bit on some points that both of you guys have been making. So as far as a video game being adapted to a movie, James, to your point, if the game has established a really good narrative that's genuine and potent and people like it, if you can translate that to the screen, do it, sure. But also, Max, to your point, and James, we've talked about this, especially with regard to the first Resident Evil movie.
Yeah.
The first Resident Evil movie contains basically zero of the same characters and a lot of the same,
It's got
at least
zombies
by
and
name,
liquor.
yeah, of the first games.
Yep.
Which would be fine if you can effectively reproduce the feelings and the theme and the atmosphere of the game that you're basing your movie off of. The first Resident Evil movie does an okay job at that, but the rest of them don't. Like they're their original stories, really, for a lot of it, but it doesn't feel like a Resident Evil movie, especially after the first one. So,
Yeah.
Max, to your point, if you can capture the spirit of the game, and a lot of those same emotions, you don't need to have the same exact story or even characters if you can effectively recreate the spirit of how that game makes a player feel.
Yeah,
then you've been successful in either case.
I think
it
you bring
comes
up
down
a very
to,
good point.
to the
of
execution.
This very much feels like an Assassin's Creed story. Guy in present goes back to past, stabs people, Templars, assassins.
Yeah, but how many games have you played?
Just one.
Yeah, I mean, not to poke at you on that, but like, there are narrative stories that are better than this, and I guess that's my thing, is that if you have a game that tries to capture the spirit and it doesn't do it as well as the narratives that exist, then I'm going to criticize you for not.
It's a
doing it
failure.
well.
Yeah,
It's a failure.
that's a failure.
This movie failed at feeling like an Assassin's Creed movie because it just didn't do it. Just having those elements doesn't make it feel like Assassin's Creed.
I guess
Yeah.
for me, which I will say that I'm John Q. Public for this, for only playing one game and having an idea of what this series is, this feels like the series.
So
And that's another point too. Like, if you're making a movie about a game,
Yeah.
you're going to have varying levels of engagement from your audience of that game.
Yeah.
You're going to have this very casual people like you, Max, or someone like James who's played a lot more of the series, right? So,
Or my dad, because my dad was watching this a while ago when it came out.
yeah,
I was like, oh.
you know, we're being very critical of this, and that's not meant to imply that it's easy.
No.
But the goal is clear, I think.
Yeah. And I think it's just hard that if you have a good story out there already, if you're going to make a new story, it better be at least as good as the story that exists already, right?
Right. And in the same spirit and all that stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
So, because we've talked about it, if you were to pull the Resident Evil name off of the first Resident Evil movie,
It's a sweet sci-fi
I
flick.
bet that movie gets way better reception.
Yeah, probably. I would have liked it better. No, and we talked about
Yeah.
that because we saw that in the theater.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the first complaints I had, that if it wasn't called Resident Evil, I would have liked it better.
It would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Because it establishes what you're looking for.
Mm.
And particularly if you're trying to get this, if you're trying to widen this out, right? Like Ubisoft, let's be honest here. Ubisoft licensed Assassin's Creed because it could probably sell more Assassin's Creed games if people got interested in it,
Oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
right? So to them, they want to see this get people interested in it. And I don't see anyone getting interested in Assassin's Creed off of this movie.
Sure.
It's been around, long enough that it's like, oh yeah, another one's out.
Yeah.
Where are they this time? Egypt? Okay.
All right.
All right.
Day in Pyramids now.
Yep. But I guess the new one has some sort of like tour mode where it takes you around the city and it's like, oh, this is the history
Well,
of.
it turns off the game, is what it does.
Yeah.
You can just walk around.
That's
the game,
actually a super cool feature.
The game has
Yeah.
always done that. The game, Assassin's Creed 2 got me to buy books about Florence and the Renaissance because it immerses you so much in the history. The games do a wonderful job in getting you interested in what else is going on and who these people are and why you're interacting with them.
I mean, the teams at Ubisoft, they were very public about this, put an enormous amount of effort into a lot of historical accuracy.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not necessarily with the relationships between prominent figures at the time and the game's characters, but
No. Yeah.
like the locales and the local color and the architecture and stuff like that, they put a ton of effort into that for each of their games.
You'll go somewhere in the game and it'll pop up and give you a thing that's like, hey, hit this button, and you hit it and it'll give you a 6 or 7 page history of the building you're in.
Which is that's very cool.
So the games are engaging you on a different level. And that's why when I see a movie like this, I'm like, they did such a good job in the narrative they told, that to just make a surface scratching thing of like, oh, this is during the Crusades, basically, right? This looks to be the reconquest of Christianity of Spain.
Yeah.
So to have that happen and them just kind of scrape the surface of a series that has taken a lot of care with things. They've gotten criticized before, but they've taken a lot of care with things. Doesn't do the narratives that these people have tried to tell justice.
You have a good argument, but I feel like that argument can be applied to pretty much every other video game thing. Every other video game movie.
Well, it'd be like it's like a good example is the Silent Hill movies, right? They made a Silent Hill
Yeah.
movie, and it's like,
Dude,
ooh, it's spooky because
Which still
there's
may
fog.
or may not be featured on the show.
Right,
We'll see.
but it's spooky because it's fog. They made a really interesting mythos to that, and if you don't explore the mythos in the movie, then you're not doing the game justice. That's there. It's not going to happen to Mario or Rampage or anything like that. But
Yeah.
even Assassin's Creed, when they are real things, and you've taken the time to do that and to show and to care and to be interested in, when you take that, a good example of a story that is original that did that and that they could have done here is Moana. Pixar sent people to the South Pacific to live there
Yeah.
for months at a time to make sure that they captured the correct feeling, but also culturally appropriate and culturally respective ways to handle these things. And to just be like, oh, it's the Crusades, let's throw these guys in there, is not. It's
So
doing
I think that's a limitation of the media of it being a movie as opposed to a TV series.
But Moana did it.
Yeah, Moana wasn't jumping backwards and forwards through time though. It only had to focus on one narrative. It didn't have to focus on the narrative of the past and the narrative of the present.
But the narrative of the present doesn't have to do that. The narrative of the past does. Should, I should say, because they didn't, because they did it.
The narrative of the past is pretty much simple, like running from things, though.
I mean that you're making my argument for me.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying like were this not an hour and 40 minutes, I feel like more time could have spent on establishing those things that you wanted to establish. And like we were lamenting all the time in the present, but it was like, oh, it's the present. He's seen the ghost images, and here's his father, who's played by his younger son and whatever. And I don't know. Like yeah, I feel like if this were an 8-episode mini, you could have the interesting things in the past and establish more of what was going on back then, and then you could establish more about the other assassins that are also in assassin jail that we wanted to see more of.
Yeah.
So.
Assassin jail.
But I don't want this movie to be any longer than it was.
I don't think it needs to be, though. I think you can still do it.
Things to think about. What do you guys think about it? If you have
email.
opinions on narrative in video games and movies and how one translates to the other, or vice versa for video games based off of movies? Indiana Jones stuff. Please let us know.
Super Return of the Jedi.
Oh boy! Wow. Yeah.
So that kind of wraps up another episode of Good Brews Bad Views. It's probably one of our most in-depth discussions about the movie afterwards. So. As always, follow us on iTunes. Please rate and review us. It helps other people find our podcast through the magic of algorithms.
Reviews.
Please like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find our episodes on WordPress and PodBean. And I think that's about it for today. So, as always, please watch
and drink
responsibly.
Bye-bye.
See ya.